Brake tapping already building to get home, especially around the loop downtown. And this isn't going to make matters any easier. Eastbound 40 past the 24 split. You've got several vehicles involved in a crash. Right now, it's on the left shoulder, but you've got to get over for first responders. So that should be causing a backup here shortly. That accident just now popping up. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy here. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show, underway for another day. Happy to have you with us on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Pleased if you're able to join us for 5 minutes of the full 4 hours. We thank you so much for that. It is March 25, a Tuesday afternoon, and we're on a variety of platforms to educate you, to inform you, and hopefully to entertain you over the next 4 hours. Episode 777 of our visits together. We've got ourselves on 99.7 FM. We've got ourselves on, I don't know what's going on. I can't get trouble. I just can't get enough volume. The volume is like as low as I can. I don't know what people are doing in here. Why don't they just give me my own studio and I'll stop complaining?
That would make things a lot easier.
Well, that would make for me. I mean, it would make things a lot easier for me. I don't know what Dan would do, but or Chad or Chris for that matter. Anyway, let's get things underway. There's Chris Weber. He's making sure that everything that comes out of your speakers, not mine, is good as humanly possible, and we thank him for that. And that's yeoman's work over the next 4 hours. There is young Ken Weaver in News Closet B. He gathers headlines and delivers those twice an hour when news breaks. Hello, Mr. Weaver.
How about you?
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Mm-hmm. How much does Talk TV cost?
Absolutely nothing.
That's exactly right. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and all you need to do is like and subscribe us. Otherwise, we send you a bill. There's that going on. We've got a variety of platforms.
You know what we could do?
What could we do?
We could start revoking people's driver's licenses if they don't subscribe.
I kind of like that idea.
It's a theory, yeah.
Do you have your Star ID, Ken?
I do not.
Mm-hmm. Do you have your Star ID, Chris?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you do. I
think so.
I asked you about that the other day.
Double check.
I have a star on mine, but I don't think putting it on there yourself counts. But
I was getting ready to say, I guess I'm going to have to stop by the Hobby Lobby.
Look at you. Look at that.
There's my star.
How about that? I could do the same thing. I'll just give all my info.
Yeah, I'm going to go down to Shelbyville and do that.
I don't know. I think somebody, you know what? We've had this conversation the other day.
Yeah.
Because I remember when you said that, someone texted, and I meant to tell you that they think that the driver's license office in Shelbyville has been closed down.
Oh, no.
So you can't go to that.
Son of a biscuit eater.
Yeah, I got a big star right there. There it is. Son of a biscuit. What?
It's not the gold star, though.
Isn't it?
Is it? Oh, I didn't think you had yours yet.
No, I got it.
Oh, you got the little yellow star in the corner?
Let me just, here, I'll show everybody. Let me see. Cover all that up. Kaboom! Right?
Yeah,
right?
There it is.
Right.
You're good to go.
Yeah.
The longest I've ever waited in the Shelbyville DMV line was maybe 30 minutes.
Well, you're probably going to – well, the key is to take the stuff that you need.
Yeah, you got to have everything with
be
you.
ready.
And see, that's the problem. The people in front of you don't.
Yep, and they cause problems
and they're
slow
the one
things
that,
down.
They're quite –
Wait a minute, you mean I need a birth certificate?
I'll tell you this though. When I went over, I went to Nashville, whatever that place is off of Ellington Parkway. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Where I'm talking about? It's like it's the name of somebody. It's the big complex out just north of Nashville. Mm-hmm. And I went in, and oh man, there were people everywhere. And as soon as I got there, they asked me what I was there for, and I told them what I was there for, and they said, "Let me see your stuff." Mm-hmm. And they went through my stuff, and they said, "Okay, very good." And they gave me like your P147 or whatever. Go sit down, and we'll call your name and number. And I watched as people would walk up, and this is very smart. instead of having them wait in line for an hour and a half,
Absolutely.
it is very smart. You go, what are you here for? Let me see what you brought. Okay, you have not brought all the stuff that you need to bring.
Yep.
And people get ticked then, but at least they're not waiting 2 hours in line, because you wait 2 hours in line, people start breaking things.
Absolutely.
And then you're just clogging the works up for the people that do have all the stuff that they
Amen.
require.
So
that's a good thing.
I do appreciate that. But one way or the other, you got to get it quickly if you plan on riding on a plane. What is it, May? Is that right?
Yeah.
That feels about right.
Until
Whatever.
they change it again.
Well, they'll boot it on down
Let's
the
hope
line.
they do.
Ken Weaver hopes they do.
I have yet to need that little star on my license yet. So
I don't really understand what it's for other than flying.
You can't go in a federal building.
Oh, really?
Yeah, without the star.
So you know what it feels like to me? Back in, I don't know if you guys were in talk radio during this period in time, but maybe 15 or so years ago, maybe it's even 20 years ago now, there was a huge uproar about a national ID. There was a suggestion that we should nationalize our form of identification. So instead of having a state driver's license, you would have a national identification card that could include driving privileges in the state in which you live. And people freaked out about it. It's the sign of the beast. The federal government's taken over. They're all going to whatever. And people just went insane. And I feel like that they're doing that anyway. They're just not calling it a national ID card. Because we've already standardized our driver's licenses to the point that, I mean, it might as well be a national thing.
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah, it's to enhance the security of state-issued IDs, which is believed to help fight terrorism and reduce fraud.
Okay.
I wouldn't know how to prove or demonstrate that if somebody handed me an ID from Hawaii. I mean, how would I know that that's a real ID?
Yeah, because they all look a little bit different.
Yeah.
Each state's is different.
Some of them, the ones that there are some of them that are like what is that?
Vertical.
Vertical instead of horizontal.
Usually the vertical ones are the people that are underage.
Oh, really?
Yeah. At least that's how they do it in Tennessee.
Oh,
Yeah,
there are vertical
they're
ones
vertical for underage.
Oh, so that
I think or maybe that was the permit. I forget, but my son's his was vertical.
Oh, so they do it that way for a specific reason. So automatically when someone looks at it, maybe it is underage. Yeah. Like you're going into a bar or something or another. Want to
just
drink?
makes it easy. Your license is vertical. No, you're not old enough.
I've checked my son's.
Yeah.
I know mine looks different. Yeah, my hair and my beard are brown.
Mm-hmm. My hair's my goatee. I just noticed that my goatee and my man. That was only that was only 3 years ago. Holy moly!
Mine was 10 years ago.
I mean, mine is a lot blacker than it is now. My goatee.
I don't think I'd look much different. But, I think they're changing it. I think the new Tennessee licenses, I don't know when this is going to be implemented, but the picture's going to be black and white. Won't even be a color photo.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
Huh. Well, that's weird.
Yeah, I'd look younger, too.
Look like a Twilight Zone episode.
I will.
4800 says driver's license is horizontal. A state ID is vertical. So I guess. Okay. Well, I will believe you. Concealed carry permit vertical in Tennessee. All right, I believe you there. Driver's license horizontal. So several people are saying that is the case. And hey, Matt, tell Ken to go to McMinnville, but don't tell anybody else. Hey, Ken, go to McMinnville.
You know what? That's not a bad idea.
I think it'd be worth. I mean, it's a beautiful drive that way.
I know. I'm going to trick everybody. I'm going to go to Tullahoma. I hear it's real fast.
Go to Shelbyville. Maybe the person that told me that Shelbyville was closed is just lying about it.
Yep.
That's that Ford HS we hear coming out of Washington, D.C. all the time. Hey, right now, the dude that no. See, I always get Jonah Goldberg and who's the other Goldberg that we've been talking about the last couple of days? The Atlantic guy. Is that a Goldberg?
Oh, it's old Jeffrey Goldberg.
I get Jonah Goldberg, who is co-founder of the Dispatch, who is more of a conservative, and Jeffrey Goldberg. I get those two Goldbergs mixed up. I'm not trying to mix up my Goldbergs, but we will talk about this big deal. This big deal. It's a big, huge deal, everybody, that I don't care anything about. And I guess I'm supposed to, because the hashtag Never CNN told me to. I guess that I'm supposed to because the MSNBC told me to. I guess I'm supposed to because the ABC and the NBC and the CBS and the New York Times and all of these other organizations that have hated Donald Trump since he came down the escalator, they've all told me that this is the most horrible, awful, evil thing that's ever happened in American history since the last time Trump did something wrong. What I'm discussing is this signal dispatch issue. Now, by a show of hands, who knew what signal was 2 days ago? Anybody?
I didn't
anybody?
know what it was.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Did you?
I'd heard of it before, yeah.
You have heard of it?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen it?
No, never seen it, never used it.
I don't know that I really know what it is now.
It's just a different messaging platform other than the standard one that your phone comes with. Just a way to communicate with other people.
So it is a messaging platform that has been used for communication amongst those in our government for a number of years. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't suggest to you. I will tell you in case you did not know that the Biden administration apparently used the Signal platform as well. It was approved by national security agencies as a platform that was secure enough to be able to use it amongst high-level officials in our American government. Now, I don't know if hashtag Never CNN is telling the American people that, because I've been remiss in my duties. I like to say that I watch so you don't have to. I did notice this, though. Oh, my goodness. That's lovely. I'm watching hashtag Never CNN right now. Are you watching? Are you over on? That's a new color crayon, isn't it? That was a nice.
Looks a little different.
That's a nice purple that she's going with there. Is that Casey Hunt?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Casey's got a new color scheme on the old platform that's a little less red and a little more. I mean, that's lovely. That'll get them in.
That'll draw the viewers.
Oh man. You know, just be just as liberal as you were, but do everything in purple and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Because it's the color of your crayon that's really the trouble there. Democrats are obviously taking advantage of this, and of course they will. Can you and I, just for a moment, and I know this is a difficult task to ask of a political-based talk show in 2025, but regardless of your political affiliation, you conservatives, libertarians, liberals alike, Republicans, Democrats, hell, if you're a member of the Whig Party, come on in. I want to talk with you. Bull Moose, let's go. Do you really care about this? I mean, honestly, do you really care one way or the other? So what happened? Apparently, high-level officials in the United States government were having a discussion about imminent plans to strike back at Yemeni Houthis who have been striking shipping lanes in that part of the world for a good amount of time now, disrupting not just American commerce, but worldwide commerce. The Signal app, I am told, because I didn't know anything about this app until yesterday, but I did my internet research. You know what I did? I typed in, what is the Signal app on my DuckDuckGo? And it told me that it is an encrypted app platform that allows for communication amongst the involved parties in such a way where it cannot be hacked or broken into. I am also told that organizations like our own United States military uses the Signal app. I was also informed that not just this president of the United States of America, but the previous administration utilized the Signal app. So what happened here that has apparently, according to ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, hashtag Never CNN, the New York Times, the Washington Post, and all of the other liberal outlets that hate Donald Trump and have since he went down the elevator, what has happened that was so egregious that they are calling for? I saw an article today where media organizations are calling for the entire Trump intelligence community to be fired. That would include Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. That would include John Ratcliffe, the head of the CIA, Tulsi Gabbard, National Intelligence Director, Mike Waltz, National Security Agent. All of those organizations need to find new people because all of them, according to the mainstream media, need to be fired as a result of the egregious breach of national security and classified information. A, no classified information was passed. Number two, what happened? Can we just talk for a moment? Do you believe that Mike Walls or Pete Hegseth or Donald Trump or J.D. Vance or whomever, do you think these people set up their little signal apps? Do you think that perhaps maybe some of them have senior staffers to assist them in communicating and setting up the conversation? Apparently, Mike Walls had a senior staffer help him with this, and apparently Mike Walls' senior staffer mistakenly included Jeffrey Goldberg with The Atlantic on the communication. So a dude that wasn't supposed to be a part of the tech circle was a part of the tech circle. Like we said yesterday, we have these internal texts on Super Talk, and I'm like, boy, oh boy, that Chris Hand, he's a real dunderhead, and boop, hits send, and then I went, oh no, Hand's on the message. Oops. Edit, delete. Anybody that's been part of a group message understands that sometimes you don't know who the hell's on the group message. I mean, there's a lot of times that I don't know who I'm talking to. And apparently that's what happened. Is it embarrassing? Of course it is. Are we lucky that this is all that it was? Of course we are. Was it that big of a deal? Of course it's not. In a normal world that is not as highly politically charged as apparently this one is, you wag your finger, you talk to people about the high levels of security that have to be involved in communicating along these lines, and you move on from it. This is a story that will not be a story 2 days from now. There is no story here. It will be dead by maybe tomorrow, certainly by Thursday. Once the media finds something else to move along with, once the media figures out some other way to ding Trump, the only reason that it's a story now is because it's Donald Trump. 23 after the hour. I'm going to fix my hair, and we'll be back in. I mean, I don't know what's going on over here. I get it. What's happening?
Don't look at me. I can't help you with that.
You got any hairspray over there?
I do not.
You got other types of hair product? You've got some hair product over there.
I don't have anything with me.
I've seen your hair.
I've got it in the hair, but not with me.
Oh, what's Weaver got back there?
I've got some Ice Sport Smell Good.
Okay, I'm going to put that in my hair and see if that works.
Aqua Velva.
If you're watching on Talk TV, my hair's going crazy. Caleb and Glenn will get to you in a moment. Line 3's ringing as well. We will compare this situation to one that might have gotten a little more media attention and probably would have had it been Donald Trump, President of the United States of America. We'll talk about that in a moment. It's 23 after the hour on Super Talk.
President Trump is defending his national security advisor over the Signal messaging app group chat controversy. And here in Nashville, the Community Review Board that takes complaints about alleged police misconduct says the TBI rated the law firm hired to independently investigate a whistleblower complaint. These stories and more at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation apparently uses the Signal app. That's what I was just told.
Oh, I thought you were.
No, I'm serious.
Okay,
I mean, unless the super texter that told me that was telling me stories out of school. Speaking of the super text line, 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. Ken, you got a message on the super text line.
Oh, what's it say?
It says, Ken, don't go to Tullahoma. Busy, busy, busy always.
Yeah.
McMinnville is the best. That's what 8574 said.
What about Winchester?
Well, I don't know about Winchester, but 8574 says do not go to Tullahoma. Busy, busy, busy.
I think they may be just trying to keep people from going.
No, 8574 wouldn't do that.
I know where I'm going. I'm going to Lawrenceburg, and I'm going to sip some Jack Daniel's whiskey afterward.
That's a good
plan.
That's a good plan.
Yeah.
If they ID you can show them your brand new Gold Star ID.
You know what that there means?
That means you get me free liquor.
Keep them coming.
Lady.
That means I don't have to put my shirt back on.
That's right. It says it right there in the rules. And by the way, yes, your passport works for flights.
Yes, that's true.
And so you can have a passport then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I've got a valid passport. I got one during COVID because I decided I was going to fly overseas because it was a good time to do it. Going to go to China, check that thing out, see what's going on.
Go straight to the source.
Straight to Wuhan, see what's up, see what we can do. Yes, we've established. Look, here's the deal. This is the latest news, and I'm not going to belabor this because I don't really care, but it is a news story, and I'll give you my opinion on the news stories of the day. And here's the deal. I didn't know what Signal was 2 days ago, but apparently it is an encrypted way in order to communicate. President Donald Trump this afternoon, here's the latest news on this, and then we'll move from it, revealed that it was a staffer with National Security Advisor Mike Waltz's office who included the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, Mr. Goldberg, in a Signal group chat with senior Trump officials who were discussing plans for an upcoming strike on Houthi rebels in Yemen. It was one of Michael's people on the phone. A staffer had his number on there, according to Donald Trump in an interview, when asked how Jeffrey Goldberg was added to the high-profile chat. The president added that Goldberg's inclusion in the chat had, quote, no impact at all on the strike in Yemen, which is true. However, it's all that hashtag Never CNN will talk about. And it's embarrassing for them that why are they talking about the story in the way that they're talking about it? Explain to me why this is.
They don't have anything else, Brother Murphy.
Because they can't talk about good news. They're not going to talk about the price of eggs going down. They're sure as hell not going to talk about the good things that are happening in this country or around the globe. It's all they've got. We've got news with Ken Weaver on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and your phone call's coming up next.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And President Trump's defending National Security Advisor Mike Waltz over that Signal messaging app group chat controversy.
He's a very good man. That man is a very good man right there that you criticize so strongly. He's a very good man, and he will continue to do a good job.
Yeah, Atlantic magazine editor Jeffrey Goldberg said he received a Signal invitation from Waltz, who was a member of the group chat among top administration officials. And this was about the the attack on terrorists disrupting shipping lanes in the Red Sea last week. As for what Mike Waltz says is happening now,
we have our technical experts looking at it. We have our legal teams looking at it. And of course, we're going to keep everything as secure as possible.
And the White House maintains no classified information was compromised. Right now in Nashville, the Community Review Board that takes complaints about alleged police misconduct says the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation rated the law firm hired by the city to independently investigate a whistleblower complaint against police. Fox 17 says the CRB wrote a letter to the mayor claiming that Butler snow offices were raided, and the CRB wanted a response from the mayor as to why by last night's meeting, but didn't get it. Butler Snow was hired to look into a 61-page complaint by a former lieutenant in Metro Police that included claims that high-ranking members of the police department helped lawmakers craft legislation that stripped police oversight groups of their power. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. I see a crash off on the left shoulder. This is going to be 40 eastbound before Briley Parkway. That'll be right there by the airport. Other than that, just the usual brake tapping going on. It is a little heavier northbound 65 to go eastbound on 440. That is really bumper to bumper. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dr. Stephen Poss and Dr. Brian McLaughlin run the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center with a singular mission in mind: to help you sleep better tonight, to get a better, more restful night's sleep that can benefit you, your partner, and your health. How? Because oftentimes sleep apnea is accompanied with snoring, and that can impact your partner. Plus, it is a part of your sleep cycle that causes you to literally stop breathing throughout the course of the night, and to wake up because of that stoppage in breathing. Well, when you do that, that's going to benefit. That's going to impact your health, I should say, in a negative way. Let's get the benefit of an FDA-approved oral device from Dr. Poss, Dr. McLaughlin, and the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. What that does is simple. It helps lift your jaw forward just a little bit. You don't really notice it in your sleep, but it keeps the airways open, and so you don't snore. You breathe throughout the course of the night. You have a more energetic day. You sleep better, and your health improves as a result. They're in-network for most insurance companies in the state of Tennessee. Let's get to this, folks. 2 locations to serve you in Brentwood and Murfreesboro. It's the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. Contact them by going to drposs.com. That's drposs.com, drposs.com. I see y'all over there on the Super Talk television side of things, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. Thank you for being a part of the show in that fashion. Whether you're listening on the radio, on your streaming app, or on television, we appreciate your participation. For those of you asking, my shirt says stay focused and stay calm. And then it is the sunshine has a magnifying glass and it's burning up a little guy on the bottom of the shirt. He's in a little skeleton. So,
All righty then.
so it's designed to be like a happy shirt, but then you look at it a little closer and you see that it's little guy's getting burned up.
Yeah.
I could show you, but I don't want to.
Well, what you can see through the your sweatshirt that you got on, it says CUS. Stay CUS. So I thought it was
Stay cuss.
stay cussing or something. Like that.
I do that too. I cuss a minute or I cuss a lot on the show.
Fiddlesticks.
Oh, fiddle farts. Ken Weaver, there's a lot of people on the Super Text line that are approving of you going to Lawrenceburg. If you go to Lawrenceburg, you're going to be in Amish country, they say.
Well, that's right.
Lynchburg is maybe where you want to go for Jack Daniels.
Lynchburg. That's where the Jack Daniels distillery is.
Can't drink it there though. It's a dry county.
Well, you can drink it on property.
Yeah. Well, during the
During the tour.
Exactly.
But yes, otherwise it is a draw, which is very ironic.
Yes, it is.
That the home of the most popular brand of it. I always get it mixed up. It's whiskey, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not bourbon.
Not bourbon.
Whiskey.
That's not bourbon.
The story. Have y'all been on the tour? Have I asked this question in the past?
I have.
I've been on it.
I've been on the tour. I thought it was a fabulous tour.
I
Good
liked
tour.
it.
Yeah.
I loved it. They tell you all about nobody knows what's in the safe. I don't believe them. Or like they claim that that's how Jack Daniel lost his leg, which eventually led to his loss of life.
Yeah.
And he was mad because he forgot his combination in the safe, and he kicked the safe.
Yeah.
And then that his toe swole up, and then it got infected, and then he had to cut off the toe, then he had to cut off the foot, then he had to cut off the leg, and then no more Jack Daniel. That's
what they say.
That's what they say. Wow. And they say that they don't know what's in the safe because nobody else knew the combination either.
He never did get it open.
Never did get it open.
Yeah, that does kind of sound a little too good to be true.
It sounds fishy.
Like, surely after he lost the toe, he thought, I'm opening this damn safe. Cost me a toe.
Right? And what do you need in the safe so bad?
I just want in there.
You got the recipe in there?
Yeah, speaking of recipe, I could go to Lynchburg, get my store ID, sip on some mighty fine whiskey, and then go over to Lawrenceburg and eat some mighty fine food, Amish food.
Well, somebody at 4215 said then you could go eat at Ms. Bobo's.
Oh, yeah. Miss Mary Bobo's right next to Jack Daniels.
Oh, that's a thing?
Oh, good grief.
Oh, it's real good.
What is that?
Yeah, this was, it used to be like a boarding house.
Yep.
Okay.
And she would rent rooms out to fellas and then cook a big meal for them at the end of every day. And everybody would sit around the table and eat dinner. Well, they've converted the house to multiple dining rooms where you go in and you sit around a table. The food comes in, lays out on the table, the big lazy Susan in the middle. Guy comes in, kind of tells a story along while you're eating your meal. Some of the best country, just down-home cooking you will ever eat.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
It is so good.
Woo,
So
meatloaf.
good.
Okay.
You got to do that.
Well, let's go.
Yeah.
Right now, let's go.
Okay.
Lim Motlow was the guy that took over for Jack Daniel after Jack Daniel kicked over. I think I have this right. And the story that we were told on our tour, and I don't know if this is true or not, but this is what we were told. There's a house on the property that belonged to Lim Motlow, and he was the master distiller at Jack Daniel after Jack Daniels lost his life. And he married a woman who was a teetotaler, and she didn't believe in drinking. And she told him that alcohol would not cross the threshold of her home. And so Lim, being the entrepreneurial spirit that he was, had some copper pipes dug under the ground and into the basement. So
It didn't cross the threshold.
It didn't cross the threshold.
He's got her on a technicality, I think. So
He's a smart fella.
And eventually you would think that Ms. Motlow would wonder why all the fellas were going down to the basement so often.
We're just playing pinochle.
Just playing pinochle down there. Anyway, so that's your Jack Daniels historical tour. Jason writes in and says, You fat bleeps are making me want to be fatter.
You're welcome.
We're talking about what restaurant are y'all talking about with country food? Ms. Bobo's. I've never been, but these two fellas say that it's absolutely
Their
delicious.
menu is very simple.
Yep.
Yeah?
Southern fried chicken, boarding house meatloaf, chicken pastry, fried catfish, country-style barbecue ribs. You can put a side of seasoned greens, fried okra, candied apples, broccoli rice casserole. That broccoli rice casserole is something else. Macaroni and cheese, of course, mashed potatoes, cornbread, and biscuits. And then the pies.
And see, this is all family style.
Yes.
See, they just come bring the platters out and sit it on the
Yes.
table. You
And
get as
you
much
just-
as you want. They keep bringing it. They keep bringing it. Oh, man. Yeah.
I mean, they're just cooking it right there in front
Yep.
of you.
My goodness gracious.
Good stuff.
Yeah. My arteries are clogging just listening to you guys.
They'll make you big boned.
As Ma used to say, you're
Yeah.
not fat. You're just big bone.
Oh, honey, you're not fat. You're just big boned.
Finishing up on this story, Goldberg published an article Monday detailing how he was accidentally added to the Signal group chat March 11th, reportedly dubbed Houthi PC Small Group, which included high-profile government officials, including Mike Walls, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, CIA Director John Ratcliffe, White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Vice President J.D. Vance, and others. Signal is an encrypted messaging app that operates similarly to texting or making phone calls, but with additional security measures that helps ensure communications are kept private to those included in the correspondence. Once again, no information was leaked of a classified nature. As a matter of fact, no information was leaked at all except to one individual that was not supposed to receive it, which was Jeffrey Goldberg. Obviously, that's a mistake. Obviously, it's a problem. And obviously, you need to get it corrected. And that's as far as it goes. Yet, I've got people on the super text line saying, well, Matt, Donald Trump talked about how Joe Biden would never fire anybody, and Donald Trump needs to fire people. Who? How? Would someone explain to me how this exactly is a fireable offense? I mean, it's an honest question. I can't figure it out. Maybe Caleb has an answer. Hey, Caleb, glad you called.
Hey, what's up, Matt?
What's going on?
I don't have an answer on that at all. Honestly, I couldn't care less whether they took their lunch order through Signal or did anything, because that just doesn't even affect me. Why are we worried about it? It makes no sense to me. And these guys, Walls and Rubio and all, don't they have more important things going on behind the scenes that people want to fire them that would affect, such as Russia and Ukraine deals? I mean, why would we be trying to fire them over a text message?
I'll say this, Caleb. You are among the smartest listening audience on planet Earth. And I mean that, right? We involve ourselves in the minutia of some of the details of this stuff. And as such, we have all of that. I was walking into work today. We broadcast right on the butt end of Music Row in downtown Nashville, Music City, USA. And as I was walking in, some of my good friends who work over at the sports station were out on the veranda. One of them was smoking and the other two watching, and they were just having a conversation. And one of the guys, good buddy, Lucas Panzica, asked me a question. And I don't begrudge him this question, but this is the waterline that we have to get past. He was like, what's up with Pete Hegseth leaking information to the enemies and whatever? That's what he said. So when you get to the point where you're reaching people that aren't really paying attention to the news, and the message that they get is that Donald Trump's Secretary of Defense leaked information to the enemy?
Right.
Right? So I feel like we have to correct that.
Absolutely.
And, we could say that that's playing a little bit of defense, and maybe that's the case. I call it pointing out hypocrisy on the part of the mainstream media, because the mainstream media didn't do any of this for the Biden administration. Of course not.
No, not at all.
So,
it's just, when for two double standards, there ain't no standards at all.
Well,
right?
that's right. That's right. I mean, it is certainly a big nothing burger, but we'll deal with it, and it will not be a part of the conversation. Thank you, Caleb. It will not be a part of the conversation in the next 2 days. Let's compare the Yemeni Houthis and what happened there. By the way, no information came out prior to the event. The event was not impacted in any way, according to the President of the United States, or according to the evidence in front of us. let's compare that to the media response in the aftermath of the withdrawal from Afghanistan. The Afghanistan withdrawal under the leadership or lack thereof of Joe Biden and his Secretary of Defense, Austin, was absolute, and Secretary of State Blinken, absolute disaster. Yes, rightly so. We focus on the 13 American soldiers that lost their lives at Abbey Gate. We don't focus on the hundreds, if not thousands, of Afghani citizens that lost their lives. You know what bothers me more than anything about it? The number of Afghanis. And right, wrong, or indifferent, whatever you think about that conflict, whatever you think about what went down over there, and the effort to try to democratize that region of the world and to get after the terrorists and to kill the terrorists. I mean, books have been written. I could do the rest of the show and the rest of the shows until next month on the subject. Whatever you think about that, know this. The Biden administration not only abandoned our soldiers and left them to die at Abbey Gate, and it was disastrous decision-making on the part of Joe Biden, Defense Secretary Austin, Secretary of State Blinken, and others. But they also left hundreds, if not thousands, of Afghanis behind that had been promised something. In that region of the world, I don't think most of us can imagine. I certainly wouldn't presume that I can because I've never been there. But I've talked to enough people who have. You cannot imagine how hard that part of the world is, how absolute hard it is, and how tribal it is. You know why Afghanistan could not make itself into a democratic nation? Because no one in Afghanistan recognizes Afghanistan as a nation anyway. The Taliban, none of them. It's all tribalism. Those are artificial lines drawn by people who don't matter to them. So the difficulty in gaining trust, the difficulty in getting people, human beings on the ground, to trust the American people and the American uniform and the American flag to the point that they provided information. They befriended us. They became agents of our mission. And what we promised them in return was safety. That we will have your back. It disgusts me every time I think of it. It disgusts me every time I speak of it. That we not only allowed our soldiers to die that day, and then when the bodies of those soldiers came home, Joe Biden and his people treated them like crap, treated the families like crap. And CNN didn't have a damn thing to say about it. And MSNBC didn't have a darn thing to say about it. And ABC and CBS and NBC and the New York Times and the Washington Post, they dismissed it. And now you want to get on your high horse and scream about people getting fired over a damn signal chat? Give me a break. I'm not about to be lectured by the same media organizations that gave the Biden administration a complete pass. It fires at, yes, I'm yelling, and it gets me so fired up. It gets me so angry to think of the family members who thought at very least that they would be treated with a modicum of respect by Joe Biden and Lloyd Austin and Anthony Blinken and all of those others in the Biden administration. Go talk to them now. They were treated like garbage. It was something perfunctory that had to be done while Joe Biden looked at his watch and wished that he was anywhere else than where he was. Wouldn't even talk to some of the family members. That's the reality. So all of you media organizations that want to pretend that you can put some comparative tissue together between Hillary Clinton's 33,000 emails on a self-made, homemade server that she created specifically for the purpose of avoiding state security, specifically for the purpose of doing an end around over oversight that she knew existed as Secretary of State. Before you start comparing those emails, those 33,000 emails, to a Signal chat that was authorized by national security to be used, you need to talk to me about Afghanistan. I'll wait. It's 54 after the hour on Super Talk. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for the Glock Store. We are so blessed to have the Glock Store in Nashville. I tell you this a lot, folks, but it's true, right? So all over the United States of America, people flock to the Glock Store online. They have a wonderful website, and you can go online, too, and you can check it out, glockstore.com. That's glockstore.com. I would encourage you to just go ahead to the Glock Store because you get some benefits from doing it that way, right? One, you can see these performance parts in person. You can see all the Glocks they have in stock and all of the apparel and all of the performance parts. You can take a little tour of the Shoot 270 shooting rooms as well. But I want to talk to you for a minute about the performance parts, right? Because at the Glock Store, when they're open for business, there's a certified gunsmith on duty, always on duty. And that gunsmith is charged with this duty, that if you buy a performance part, you know, like a competition trigger or night sights or extended controls, whatever you purchase from the Glock Store to go on your Glock, they're going to install it for free while you wait. That's what they do at the Glock Store. You know, the other guys that live in, I don't know, Minnesota or Montana or Texas or wherever they get their parts shipped, they have to figure it out on their own. Not you, because we're in Nashville, Tennessee with the Glock Store. Glockstore.com or shoot270.com. I love the Glock Store, and this is just one of the many reasons why. Stop by today. They're just off of Elm Hill Pike on Airlane Drive, minutes away from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere. It's the Glock Store.
4 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Right now at our nation's capital, President Trump's defending National Security Advisor Mike Waltz amid the group chat mishap, which allowed a reporter to see top administration officials going back and forth about bombing Houthi terrorists last week.
I don't think we should allow people that are very good, like that man sitting right at the end of the table who's done a great job. We shouldn't allow them to be hurt by it.
Goldberg said he received, that is Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor of the Atlantic magazine, claimed he received a signal invitation from Waltz, something Trump and Waltz say the administration is looking into to determine whether changes need to be made. But no classified information was compromised, according to the White House. Russia-Ukraine update. Patrick Reevell says they've reached a limited agreement brokered by the U.S. in Saudi Arabia.
The Kremlin and Ukraine's President Zelensky say they have agreed to halt strikes on ships in the Black Sea. In exchange, the U.S. has agreed to ease sanctions on some Russian banks involved in food and fertilizer exports. Russia says it will only start implementing the deal once that happens. This basically resurrects a deal brokered by the UN back in 2022, but that Russia later withdrew from. Ukraine and Russia also agreed to work on measures to end strikes on energy infrastructure.
Right now in Middle Tennessee, the Nashville Community Review Board claims that TBI raided the law firm and seized documents. This law firm hired to investigate a whistleblower complaint against Metro Police. It's in a letter the CRB sent to the mayor looking for answers as to why and who ordered the raid. The CRB asked for a response by last night's meeting but didn't get it. Butler Snow, the law firm hired by the city to investigate allegations made in a 61-page complaint by Garrett Davidson, a former Metro Police lieutenant, that included accusations that Metro Police higher-ups helped state lawmakers come up with legislation that stripped power from police oversight boards. Money news. A new report from Savings.com shows for the first time 50% of parents of adults provide their offspring an average of $1,400 per month for things like cell phone plans, health and auto insurance, and rent. And then there is this.
Dropping to a 12-year low, more than analysts expected, was the measure of short-term expectations for income, business, and the job market in a survey by FactSet for the Conference Board. That level is solidly in recession-predicting territory. Employment's strong and inflation's well below its high mark, but if consumer spending, which accounts for about two-thirds of the U.S. economy, weakens, that could have a negative impact, says an investment analyst at eToro to ABC News.
That's Chuck Severson. Entertainment news. Country Music Hall of Famer Vince Gill moments ago.
Today we have the honor of celebrating 3 individuals who have reached the highest honor in country music.
So the 2025 Country Music Hall of Fame inductees are Tony Brown, June Carter Cash, and Kenny Chesney. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, usual brake tapping this time of day to get home. It is especially heavy if you are eastbound 440 between 65 and 24. And then eastbound 24 is really slow from 40 down to 440. And then the brake tapping on 24 eastbound, that goes all the way down to Bell Road. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk at 99.7 WTN.
All right, here we are. Here we go. It's hour number 2 of the Matt Murphy Show. Fired up after that first hour. We had a few laughs. We cried a little. It was better than cats. It is 4:08 and a good afternoon. Ken Weaver's back in News Closet B. He gathers headlines for a living and delivers them twice an hour when it breaks. Chris Webber has to herd this cat. That's me. My name is Matt Murphy. We've got a guest coming up in mere seconds on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Caitlin writes in and says, I was on hold, but after your monologue, what I had to say felt less important because could not have agreed with you more. I think the story of this Signal snafu is that Signal is used for journalists and their anonymous sources. I think a lot of people, given that the last Trump administration had so many wolves in sheep's clothing, are concerned about why anyone in the cabinet's inner circle or staff would have a left-wing liberal journalist in their phone book. Nefarious leakers will not ever be stopped. I do not believe that anyone within the cabinet level position is a wolf in sheep's clothing. I have every confidence in the world in Mike Walls and everyone else that was involved in this call. Now, whether or not he has a staffer that perhaps intentionally did this, I don't believe that it was an intentional mistake. I think it was an unintentional mistake. And I think that mistake ultimately came to, well, nothing. Does the mistake need to be corrected in the future? Obviously, it does. But as I said last hour, and if you missed it, you need to go back and podcast it because it's pretty good, if I do say so myself. I'm not going to be concerned about what CNN thinks about any of this until such time as CNN talks to me about Afghanistan and their lack of coverage over 13 service members dying and however many Afghani individuals that assisted our military in obtaining information and securing that region of the world over a length of time, and they were only promised one thing, safety. And we abandoned them, and they were slaughtered as a result. And the media said nothing. Nothing. So I'm not going to be lectured by these people. I may or may not be lectured by our next guest. He is Congressman Tim Burchett. He joins us today on the Murphy Show to talk about, I don't know, Signal amongst other things. I think there are probably more important things to talk about, but we're always pleased to be joined with Congressman, and this time by Zoom, which is pretty cool. Hey, Congressman, how are you?
Well, as you can tell, the camera makes love to me, as you said many times to me off the air, and I have to agree with you.
You're a beautiful man, but as I've told you many, many times, you look much better in a beard. Much better in a beard. Yeah. Full beard.
Yeah, you and my wife. So that's all right.
How's it going?
It's going all right. Just another day in paradise. We haven't codified anything that the president has passed out of DOGE. So to me, that shows the sewer is still in effect. We haven't passed my bill to stop the Taliban from getting $40 million a week. I've been told it will possibly be up next week. I'm leaking that to you all first.
Mm-hmm.
I have another bill dealing with making it illegal to sell genetic material or, your identification. People will, you swab the inside of your mouth and you send it off to this company and you find out, your family was kings or somewhere. You never find out that your family was a a horse thief or anything. It's always, but, and so the Chinese are buying that information, and oddly enough, they're creating a genome, which possibly they could do something like, and we were told that I was told that they were doing this, that creating a genome to produce a bug or something that could possibly stop American women of childbearing age from having children. This is the China that we're dealing with, and this is the Washington that won't pass that legislation. I can't even get a dadgum hearing, and we just saw yesterday where a group went bankrupt that had all that, and they're going to sell all that material information out on the open market. So we've got to, I hope America starts cranking it up and putting the pressure on us to do our jobs.
So, yeah, I mean, I saw where, and I don't know if this organization has any affiliation with the Red Chinese, but the 23andMe group, a lot of people are concerned about that group going under, because what happens to all of that genetic-based information that group had obtained over the years?
Yeah, it goes to the Chinese communists.
Right.
Almost, we think, every time. So,
I mean, they would be the highest bidder, right, Tim?
Oh, absolutely. Or they just steal it. People got to be careful about this stuff. I think you better find out where your material is going, where this information is going. There are very nefarious forces in this world that are out to get us and do not like the way America operates and would like to put us under.
Congressman Burchett, you mentioned those that aren't moving forward with codifying some of the executive actions by Donald Trump. It concerns me greatly that we've not seen more movement. Obviously, Donald Trump has the authority as the head of the executive branch to do many of these things, but God forbid, should a Democrat get back in the White House anytime soon, they have every opportunity to reverse it unless the Congress acts. Why is there not more urgency on the part of the Congress? We hold both houses. Talk to me.
Because this town is absolutely, positively corrupt. Kaz Walker was an old grocer in East Tennessee, and he had a saying that you're crooked as a dog's leg, and that's Washington, D.C. Ultimately, y'all need to start asking yourself who the hell you're electing in this town, and we better start. We're not going to get another chance at this thing. I told the president this. We had a lengthy conversation. He called me a couple of weeks ago, and I said, you got about 100, 150 days, Mr. President. This bunch is gutless, and they will cut your throat. And some of the same people are in power behind the scenes that were in power before. And and I'll tell you one other thing, better watch out for on Doge. They're going to try to pass a big, beautiful Doge bill with all that in it. And guess what? They won't get it passed. And so I would say, let's pass each one of them individually. Just have a Doge day, and we elect them and make these people vote it up or down. And then if they don't, hold them accountable at election time, because I'm sure there's plenty of people in the primaries that could run against them or the general election.
Well, I mean, I know you didn't want. I mean, you had no. There was no love in your heart when you cast a vote for that CR. But we held our nose once again, and the president asked us to. And I did it, and you did it as a congressman. I did it as a talk radio host. Said, okay, guys, one last time, but now we expect some movement. We expect some real cuts to come out of this administration. Will Congress go along with it, Congressman?
I hope so. We better hold them accountable, though, because it's just, it's more of the same. It is more of the same, just a different. Because we're in power. We're in power now. Well, what are we going to do with it? Are we going to invest our money? Are we going to put it in the ground? Or are we going to go out there and waste it?
Are you hearing? I know that you were on a podcast recently, and you made the comment that there seems to be some concern in Washington, D.C. about where Doge goes and where they don't go in terms of what they uncover with regard to corruption. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, we had a meeting with Mr. Musk, Elon, or whatever. There's just 6 or 7 of us in there, and we had a great conversation. He and I did. I said, I'd like to know where this money is going, and he basically said there's a paper trail, and I'm paraphrasing, put it in Tim Burchett terms, but there's a paper trail, and he thinks it was coming right back to Washington. And I think it's going into the pockets of politicians. You know, before we had that Sam Bankman-Fried guy. You remember him?
I do.
He got popped on that Ponzi scheme dealing with whatever, not Bitcoin, but one of them. I don't know. But anyway, and so he had millions and millions of dollars that he was putting back into campaigns. And most of them were Democrats. There was the former speaker was involved in some of it, and there were some others that were a Republican speaker that were involved in it. And so that was about as close as you got. It went into the campaigns, and Joe Biden, I think, got $10 million in his campaigns and stuff. But anyway, that was a pretty close example. But they think that some of this is just going straight back to them. It's paying family members through these NGOs. It could even go back to members of Congress. I don't know. But I'll be happy when I see somebody walk out of here in handcuffs, going not to jail, but to prison.
I
I look forward to that.
I saw a statistic the other day that somewhere in the neighborhood of a little less than 2% of the American population households are millionaires, but a little less than 2%. And in Congress, that percentage is over 50. And I just and I understand that the percentage is going to be higher. I mean, I understand that more affluent people have a better ability to run for Congress. So sure, those are going to be elevated, but over 50%, it just feels a little odd to me, Tim.
For the record, I'm not one of them. And that's another bill I have is, that you can't do individual stock trades. And that just shows the crooked nature. Get on X, and there's a website, Unusual Whales, and it lists, I think, the top 50 or 100. And everybody wants to rail on Pelosi. And yeah, she's uncannily picked stocks, and I think we all understand what that's about. But she's not even in the top 10. I mean, she is. There are so many other members that their percentages are so much. I mean, they're clairvoyant. They do hundreds of stock trades a year, hundreds. And I'm just trying to sell my baseball card and comic book collection to pay off my mortgage. I don't know where the rest of these guys are coming from. My banker told me the other day. He said, I think you're one of the most honest members of Congress, but I know you're one of the brokest. So I guess I wear that as a red badge of courage. I'm not sure, but
it's about.
That's why nobody trusts us. That's why nobody trusts us when Congress members get up and say that there's no insider trading. That's just a lie. We're allowed to do it. You all aren't. If we had the information, if you all had the information we did, and you made money, you would go to prison.
And they do it all the time, and they won't stop because there are too many with R's behind their names, and a lot of them with D's behind their name that have gotten too rich.
Number one on the list on the Unusual Whales is a Republican. Nice guy, but still, I just think they ought to do like I do. My buddy Tommy Seiler down there in Knoxville, he's got it was a $13,000 portfolio. I took a hit. I think I'm at $11,000 right now, but it's in a mutual fund. That's all I think that's legit. It's so big. It's hard to kind of skewer one of those. I guess if you're a financial genius, you can figure that out. But the reality is when you see a member of Congress year after year making 50, 100% return, that's just too much, brother. It's just way too much.
All right. Before I ask you about running for governor, which I'm going to ask you about because I always do, is this signal deal, I mean, is it something that gives you heartburn? I mean, obviously it was a mistake. It's a little bit embarrassing. The president has spoken on it. Does it give you heartburn at all?
I have two thoughts on it. Either it was a mistake or somebody did it to get rid of a member of the cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Waltz is the one everybody keeps pointing at. He's a Green Beret. He and I came to Congress together, and he doesn't speak out a lot. He didn't in Congress. He didn't brag about his service. I looked into his service. He was in some of the roughest battles that we've had in the last few years. And he volunteered for that service. I just remember one time he had a picture and I asked him about it and he said, funny thing, that was like Mother's Day. And he said that he sent his mom a message because he wasn't sure if he was going to get to come home. And that's all he said. And he's not one of these braggers. He doesn't, he's not out screaming at the top of his lungs. But in the back of my mind, you got to think somebody like that is not who they want close to the president. And I mean, the enemy doesn't. And there's always an enemy somewhere. And nothing happens by accident much in Washington. Now, this could have happened by accident. This could have very well been an accident. But if it is, somebody needs to be thumped for it. I know a Democrat in the Senate's called for Pete Hegseth and Waltz and somebody in Tulsi Gabbard, I think, to lose their jobs.
And Ratcliffe, too. Yeah, all of them. They want all of them.
Too. And Ratcliffe's a pretty square dude, too. I've known him for quite some time. But I just think that's all a bunch of hooey. There'll be another, as I used to say when I was mayor of Knox County, there's going to be another wreck on the interstate tomorrow. Not that I wanted there to be a wreck, but some other news issue will come up and they'll move on. Jasmine Crockett will get into it with somebody or something will happen and the news focus will change.
Well, they're not going to focus on her. I mean, what about that? I mean, look, I'm a straight shooter and I've been known to tell an off-color joke, but Governor Hot Wheels, I mean, good gracious.
That's pitiful.
I mean, it's
the Democrats don't know what to do. They're a rudderless ship right now. If you saw when the president, it wasn't really technically a State of the Union, but whatever you want to call it. I mean, there were really three groups there. One group got up and walked out. One group disrupted, and one group just sat there and didn't do anything, motionless. It was a completely rudderless ship. Under Pelosi, all the women wore white, and the men, they knew when to clap and when not to, and they just don't have that leadership anymore. And I think there'll be leadership changes, and there's a lot of feuds. But I say we just let them keep, when your enemy's digging themselves into a hole, just let them keep digging, brother. Just shut up. That's true. Let them run. Let them run. Don't make a martyr out of any of them.
So in the couple of minutes that we have left, every time we talk about the possibilities moving forward in 2026, and obviously Congressman John Rose, your colleague in the House of Representatives, your colleague here in the state of Tennessee, has now announced that he's running for governor. Marsha Blackburn is yet to announce officially, but, every indication is she's in. But every time I talk about it, Tim, people bring your name up. They want to know if Congressman Tim Burchett is at least considering the possibility. Are you considering the possibility, or are you focused on the House?
Well, if Marsha were to win and there was an opening in the Senate, I would hopefully I'd be in consideration for that. And I don't have anything to judge that on. I saw, there's this polling that goes on all the time, and somebody leaked some of it to me, and it was very strong in my favor. I think I could make a serious run for governor right now, and I'm honored every time somebody says that. But, I pray about it. I'm a Christian. I'm not a very good one, obviously, because of my chosen profession. But I honestly don't think God's leading me in the direction of Nashville. Mm-hmm. And that could change. I mean, but he could get me to run for governor.
I think you'd make
my butt kicked.
Let me tell you, I think you'd make a heck of a U.S. Senator, Tim.
Well, I don't know about that. You're very kind. I thought I'd make a great country music star, but I can't sing, so that didn't work out.
I thought I'd make a good guitar player, and I bought a guitar, and then it disabused me in that notion. Well, so I mean, I only ask so many times because so many folks bring your name up, and that's how much
bring
folks
it up.
love you.
You're my friend, Matt. You're my buddy. You can always ask, and I'm an open book. I do my videos on X at Tim Burchett, and people used to make fun of me, all the members up here, and now I've got over 250,000 followers, and people talk about it all the time, and Trump likes them, and now everybody's doing the videos. So I tell people my thought process, and maybe that's part of my weakness but I think people like the fact that at least I'm honest with them about where things are and where I think they're going.
Did you ask Elon when you met Elon if he had any cash on him?
No, it's crazy. I was, you got 30 seconds. Can I tell you my story with him?
Yes, I'll make 30 seconds for you, Tim. Cool.
All right. Well, I actually, after we all talked about it, I have a deep desire for alternative housing. I know that sounds weird. And there's a process called rammed earth building. You take red clay, which we have plenty of in Tennessee. You mix it with about 5 to 10% cement, and you put it under super pressure, and it creates a block. And it's actually that parts of the Great Wall of China, which was built about the time of Christ, are still around that were built with this process. And you can get the soil off your site. It's energy conservation. It'll stop a bullet. And they're digging those tunnels, and they're looking. And I've talked to them about that, and they're looking at that process. So I was actually trying to get him to come to Tennessee and build one of those houses. I thought, we could house poor people. It would look cool. I bet the hipsters would want them. And they can make them for about a nickel a brick.
Love
Of course, the brick manufacturers hate it, but they could get in the business. And, you wouldn't have to ship it in. You wouldn't have to burn them. You wouldn't have to be relying on any fuel we get overseas to make them, basically. And but anyway, I talked to him a little bit about that. And it turned out kind of God's will, I guess. The guy that was with him was his tunneling guy and was the guy that was looking at that idea. So I'm trying to get him to do it in East Tennessee or Tennessee somewhere, just to build a demonstrator house. And let's put some people in houses, and let's let people own their own house instead of renting. And let's produce capitalism. I'm a big fan of capitalism.
Hey, bring one over to the Metro Nashville area, and I'll be the first buyer, Tim. I'm in. I'm looking for a place anyway.
I built a little structure in my front yard out of them just because I'm a weird guy. Not too many 60-year-old guys are making mud bricks, but I guess I am. But anyway, we had a great conversation, and I asked him why he's even doing this. And he said to me, he looked at me, I said, look, I'm a Christian. I said, I know I'm in this racket. And he said, I just saw the other side was getting too crooked. And I thought, well, that's an honest thing. And he said, I got kids, obviously. He got a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And he said, and I want them to grow up in a good place. And I thought, well, that's a freaking honest answer.
Love it. Love it. Tim, thank you so much. We're out of time. I hate it, but we'll do it again very soon. Always a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you, brother. See ya. Love you
take
guys.
care. Love you too. There's 28 after the hour. There's Tim Burchett on Super Talk. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy for Tennessee Men's Clinic. Tennessee Men's Clinic is here for you, gentlemen, when you need them, and odds are you will need them. About half the men listening to me right now will go through some sort of testosterone loss over the course of their middle age. What happens when that happens? Well, sometimes it's just an energy loss that can be attributed to, a lack of drive to get out and do yard work. Sometimes it's not wanting to go to the gym, and other times it affects you in bedroom activity. If this is you, men, it is time to take charge of your life, to take charge of your intimate romantic relationship, and get with the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Tennessee Men's Clinic can help. One of their qualified urologists would love to see you. They have locations in Franklin and Cool Springs. Tennessee Men's Clinic is here. TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. That's TennesseeMen'sClinic.com, or call today, 615-208-9090 for an appointment, 208-9090.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. During a White House meeting with ambassadors today, President Trump sent a new message to mayors under pressure to cooperate with the administration's mass deportation efforts.
We may be presenting you very shortly with a executive order ending sanctuary cities.
Trump was asked if he had any plans to yank funding for NPR and PBS. Public broadcasting funded by the government.
I would love to do that. I think it's very unfair. It's been very biased for the whole group. I mean, the whole group of them.
Right now in Tennessee, Channel 4's Stacey Cameron covering the General Assembly says bills enhancing school safety advanced today, but action on a controversial immigration-related education bill was delayed.
The controversial bill is the one that would let local public schools choose whether to kick out undocumented students or charge them tuition. The Senate Finance Committee pushed its vote on that bill back a week. That kept protesters away and let lawmakers focus on a long list of educated-related bills. Two of those dealt with school safety, and both passed easily through the House Education Committee. The first bill gives schools 48 hours to alert parents of a safety threat against their child's school if that threat was also reported to police. The second bill, it requires schools now being built or remodeled to use an entry-resistant film on doors and windows that meet a higher national safety standard.
Full House Education Committee scheduled to vote on that illegal immigrant student bill at 4:30 tomorrow. Entertainment news, Country Music Hall of Famer Vince Gill announced new inductees today.
Their artistry has not only defined country music for audiences worldwide, but it's also inspired future generations, paving the way for those who follow in their footsteps.
Yeah, so the 2025 inductees are Tony Brown, June Carter Cash, and Kenny Chesney. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, still got the brake tapping going on. Boy, it's getting heavier there. 65 up to Goodlettsville. That is really heavy all the way from Briley Parkway. And then here closer to downtown, you've got 440 going eastbound over to the 2440 split that is really backed up. And then it is brake tapping 24 eastbound all the way down to Bell Road, which is per usual. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, thanks again to Congressman Tim Burchett for joining us. You can watch that conversation on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, as we had Tim on the Zoom channel, which was good. We thank you for being with us. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, whatever time you're able to give us, we're certainly appreciative of that. I failed to mention this. Tim has introduced a bill in Congress. I don't know that it's going anywhere, but I absolutely love it. It's one of the reasons I love Burchett. It is called the Defense Against Drones Act. The Defense Against Drones Act was introduced March 10th, earlier this month. Let's just say a couple of weeks ago. The Defense Against Drones Act permits individuals to use a legally obtained shotgun to shoot down a drone if they reasonably believe it's flying below 200 feet above their property in accordance with state law. While this legislation does not mandate that the individual who shoots down the drone return it to its owner, they are required to report the incident to the Federal Aviation Administration within 60 days if the drone's registration number is identifiable. That is the Defense Against Drones Act offered by our man, Representative Tim Burchett. Takeaway from that conversation was simple. One, Tim doesn't trust anyone in Congress. Number two, he doesn't believe that the people that tell us that they're not benefiting from their time in Congress with regard to their stock trading are telling the truth. Number three, he has great faith in Elon Musk that he will do his dead level best to get our spending under control. And number four, and maybe most importantly for some of you, he says that he does not feel compelled by God. And I'm paraphrasing what he said, but I think it's a fair representation that he does not feel compelled to run for governor at this time. That he would be honored if considered on a short list to become the next United States Senator should Marsha Blackburn become our governor of the state of Tennessee, but he does not feel led down that path. Now, for those of you that constantly, every time we talk about this, whether we're talking to John Rose, who has thrown his hat in the ring, whether we're talking to or about Marsha Blackburn, with regard to her possibly throwing her hat in the ring, everybody believes that's happening any moment now. Regardless of who we're talking about and when we're talking about it, somebody brings up Tim Burchett, one or two, and I think that is a testimony to how well he has done his job as the 2nd congressional district representative in the state of Tennessee. That said, I think that question has been asked and answered, and until he changes his mind, I don't know that there's any more point in it. For those of you going, I don't want to vote for Martha, I don't want to vote for, well, you got to vote for those who are on the ballot. And right now it appears that Tim will not be on the gubernatorial ballot in 2026. Tony is next up in Nashville. Tony, thank you for calling. How are you, sir?
Hey, Matt, you doing all right today?
I'm well, Tony. Thank you for your call.
I mean this I don't mean this with no disrespect and nothing before I get into what I'm calling about. I just feel the need to call you Uncle Phil.
Aw.
I just think y'all should have an Uncle Phil Day, because I miss that. People calling in, they call him Uncle Phil. I just miss the guy. I really do.
Well, I know a lot of people do, and I did not know him nearly as well as the listening audience of Super Talk, but I knew him well enough to know that I miss him as well. And I'm just good old cousin Matt, Tony. I'll never be Uncle Phil.
Well, I tell you what, Matt, you ain't missed a beat, man. I tell you, you just like a backup quarterback that comes in and we don't lose a stroke. So that's what we're talking about here. But anyway, what I'm going to say is that about this supposedly leak, number one is this happened after the strikes, not before. Even if it did happen, I'm just saying allegedly if it did happen. But this was after what they did. But what bothered me in the last 6 years or so, that we had a traitor that was walking around in our White House with high clearance in there with General Milley. This man actually picked up the phone behind the president's back and called China. And none of these news outlets, now Fox, they got on it, but none of these mainstream media said nothing about it. And this traitor, and I call him a traitor, back in the day, they would have took him outside and shot him. And I don't see how in the world they allowed that to happen and not kick up no dust about it.
Well, I mean, there should have been more said about it, obviously. I mean, you know how it goes, Tony. I mean, these are non-stories when Democrats do it. And the media is not going to pick up on these things. We point them out for what it's worth, and hopefully we reach as many people as we possibly can. But, no, rules are for thee but not for me, say the Democrats.
Yeah. But at the same time, like you said, they just keep digging a hole for themselves. And what I'm looking for and hoping for when midterm elections come up, that we turn around and get a supermajority in both houses. I truly believe that. Because these people are just downright evil and demonic, and they don't care what they do and how they do it. And I'll just say this just so it's out there. I'm an old black guy, and I've seen this stuff for years. And if you notice, when they get out there and they act a fool out there, guess who they put out front?
Who's that, Tony? That's right.
Black representatives.
That's right. Of course.
They put Maxine Waters out there. They put Jeffries out there. They put what's her name, Crockett. They put all these black representatives out there. And you talking about racism, they won't get out there themselves and do this.
Well, of course not. I mean, no. Of course, no. They for a long time, Tony, let's talk about this. Because for the longest time, since I've been involved in political matters, Democrats have used the black population as a shield against their failed policies.
And that's what killed John Lewis. If you can remember back when they was trying to impeach Trump the first time, and they took a black man and put the gavel in his hand and used him as insulation. And Trump went to him and said, man, why are you doing this? Why are you participating in this? Why aren't you taking care of your people in Baltimore? And then he turned around, and you can go back and fact check it, and it's still out there on video somewhere, where Trump said you was appropriated $1.6 billion to help your family. I mean, to help your people. Mm-hmm. Where is the money at? Once that question was asked, he got sick and never recovered. Go back and check that.
I know. I get it. Tony, thank you. And I don't deserve those kind of words at the beginning of this conversation, but I appreciate them, brother.
Well, all right. You have a great day.
Take care. There's Tony. I mean, he's exactly right. I mean, I can't say it any better than he did. The Democrats have considered black votes a given for a long, long time. Part of their desperation comes from the idea that a lot of people in the black community are waking up to the fact that Democrats haven't done very much for them. They give a lot of lip service, and maybe there's some freebies that are given away on top of that lip service. But in terms of real work to benefit them in their own economic standing, in their work efforts, in their job efforts to create that equitable, not equity in terms of outcomes, but equitable in terms of setup and standards. Everything should be equality is one thing. Equity is a completely different thing. Equity is evil. Equality is what we should all strive for. And Democrats believe in handouts, not hand-ups. Brad is next in Shelbyville. Hello, Brad. Hey, Brad, can I ask you a question before we get to the nature of your conversation?
You sure can.
To your knowledge, is the DMV in Shelbyville closed?
The DMV is open as far as I know.
All right, well, there you go. Ken Weaver, DMV's open in Shelbyville. I just wanted Ken to know that. Okay, very good.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's good news.
Yeah, I heard y'all talking about it the other day, and I wanted to call in, but I didn't have time to tell you.
Well, I appreciate it, man, because I don't like waiting 3 hours.
Yeah, no, I don't think the wait's 3 hours. You got to make an appointment, and I think my daughter went there not too long ago.
Went to the Shelbyville one?
Sure, that's where we live, so yeah.
Ah, okay.
Well, there you
All
go.
right.
I love hearing that. Brad, what's on your mind? What's up, buddy?
So y'all was talking about Lynchburg earlier, and, well, I visit there all the time because that's where my family's from. But there's a new distillery coming called Company Distillery down there. Jeff Arnett is the owner of it, and he used to be a master distiller for Jack Daniels. Today's also his birthday.
Well, happy birthday to him.
We have a barbecue place down there owned by Chuck Baker, the best barbecue in Middle Tennessee. Barbecue sandwiches and everything. I mean, it's great barbecue if you love barbecue.
Well, we're going to get down there and eat it all.
Yeah,
we're going to start with Miss Bobo's and go from there.
Yeah, I've never eaten there. I want to try it one day, but no, I've never eaten there. And they live right here at it.
Well, we'll let you know when we're down that way, and we'll all get together, Brad.
Sure, I'd love to meet all y'all. I really do.
Well, come on. I mean, we're here, and we'll get down there. Thank you, Brad, for the telephone call. 50 after the hour. We'll get to Larry in a moment. Your calls as well. Also coming up, how many people want Kamala Harris to run again in 2028 by percentage in the Democrat Party? It surprised me. I don't know about y'all, but this percentage is way higher than I thought it would be. We'll get to it in a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for Grace Point Healthcare. Affordable, convenient, and comprehensive medicine in a direct pay format. What does that mean to you? What does it mean for you, more importantly? It means that no one, no insurance company, no pharmaceutical company, nobody or no thing will come between you and the doctors at Grace Point Healthcare, meaning that they can assist you in finding the right diagnosis for you. Sometimes that means pharmaceuticals. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's a more holistic or natural approach to solving the issue that you might have in front of you. It also means that you pay less in the long term. Yes, less. For $69 a month, you can enroll in the basic Smart Care plan. What does that mean? That means unlimited office visits throughout the course of the year, plus basic labs, diagnostics. They provide that for you at no additional charge with the $69 Smart Care plan. Now, you don't have to enroll in the Smart Care plan to be a patient at Grace Point Healthcare. They are your primary provider, not just for you, but for the entire family. Call at 599-6868. That's 599-6868 for Grace Point Healthcare. Grace Point Healthcare, located in the heart of Franklin. Grace Point Healthcare. Tell them I sent you. Modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way.
President Trump has a new message for mayors of sanctuary cities and seems to favor pulling funding for NPR and PBS. And the Tennessee legislature advancing bills enhancing school safety today. Also, hear from Congressman Tim Burchett about a run for governor coming up at 5 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you much, Ken Weaver. It is about 2 minutes until 5 o'clock. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Believe it or not, and you can believe it because I'm about to say it. According to a recent poll, 38% of Democrats responding to a recent poll, and I have it somewhere and I can't find it, said that they would prefer Kamala Harris to run for president in 2028 over any other candidate. This on the heels. I'm like, okay, well, okay. You think, I mean, she performed so well and so admirable. You know what? I would love to change the narrative to create this phony baloney nonsense. So let's change the narrative and suggest that Kamala was a really good candidate. She just wasn't given enough time.
That's
How about
it.
that? That's what it was. That she wasn't given enough time and money, despite the fact that she was given $1 billion to win the presidency and blew through it in about 100 days.
Well, and I think her husband dropped one of those bags of chips that was thrown to him in that impromptu stop in the convenience store.
The Doritos. Who's got the Doritos? Timmy, Doritos.
I mean, you know, he dropped the chips. That's what did it.
That's, you know, you can't drop the Doritos, man. Can't drop the Doritos. Maybe it was just that she picked the wrong vice presidential candidate. Maybe that's what it was. 38% of Democrats, this shows me more than anything that Democrats don't know what the hell they want. Democrats are stuck between a rock and a hard place because the biggest voices in their political party are the most extreme. And the extremities of their political party, that is what has lost them so much confidence over blocks of voters that they used to own 12 years ago, 16 years ago, 20 years ago. And now not so much because they don't represent you and they don't really care about you. And that's becoming increasingly obvious. So y'all go on with Kamala Harris. Y'all make it happen in 2028. I'd love to see it. I would love to see it. Liberal on liberal violence. I'd love to see that as well. It is 5 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time for the news.
Five o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Did you hear what 2nd District Congressman Tim Burchett said when Matt Murphy asked if he'll run for governor?
I pray about it. I'm a Christian. I'm not a very good one, obviously because of my chosen profession. But I honestly don't think God's leading me in the direction of Nashville.
But he says he hopes that he would be strongly considered for the U.S. Senate if Marsha Blackburn were to toss her hat in the governor's race and win. So far, Congressman John Rose is the only one declared. During a White House meeting with ambassadors today, President Trump sent a new message to mayors under pressure to cooperate with deportation efforts.
We may be presenting you very shortly with a executive order ending sanctuary cities.
Trump was asked if he had any plans to yank funding for NPR and PBS, public broadcasting funded by the government.
I would love to do that. I think it's very unfair. It's been very biased for the whole group. I mean, the whole group of them.
President Trump defending National Security Advisor Mike Waltz amid the group chat about bombing terrorists that mistakenly included a reporter for the Atlantic magazine.
I don't think we should allow people that are very good, like that man sitting right at the end of the table who's done a great job. We shouldn't allow them to be hurt by it.
Now, President Trump talking about his National Security Advisor Waltz, managing editor of The Atlantic, Jeffrey Goldberg, said he received a Signal message app invitation from Waltz to join that chat, something Trump and Waltz say the administration is looking into to determine whether changes need to be made. The White House maintains no classified information was compromised. Russia and Ukraine reaching a limited agreement brokered by the U.S. and Saudi Arabia. We get details from Patrick Reevell at the Foreign Desk.
The Kremlin and Ukraine's President Zelensky say they have agreed to halt strikes on ships in the Black Sea. In exchange, the US has agreed to ease sanctions on some Russian banks involved in food and fertilizer exports. Russia says it will only start implementing the deal once that happens. This basically resurrects a deal brokered by the UN back in 2022, but that Russia later withdrew from. Ukraine and Russia also agreed to work on measures to end strikes on energy infrastructure.
Here in Tennessee, neighbors tell Channel 4 about the house fire that broke out in Goodlettsville this morning around 4 o'clock, woke everyone up.
I was sitting right here in my front window, and all I could see was brightness. It looked like it was daylight out. And I come out here, and I got to about halfway in my driveway, and you could just feel the heat, intensity. The whole roof was in flames. It was a lot. And about 5 minutes before the fire engines got here, the windows started to blow out.
Yeah, a woman made it out of the home. Neighbors say she was standing in the driveway without any clothes on, seemingly in shock. Firefighters looking into the cause of that fire. Animal control looking into the discovery of several dogs found dead in cages under the carport. The dogs appearing to have died prior to the house fire. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, very heavy brake tapping going on, trying to get out of the downtown area. In addition to that, we've got the Highway Patrol in Wilson County reporting 2 separate accidents impacting 40 westbound. That's going to be between exit 236 and 235. Highway Patrol says look out for debris in the roadway there. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, here we are. Here we go. It is 7 minutes after 5 o'clock. My name is Matt Murphy. This is the Matt Murphy Radio Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We also appear on television on occasion. Actually, if we're here on radio, we're here on television as well. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. Like and subscribe us if you run over there. Like and subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. We thank you for your participation in the show. You can passively participate by merely listening to the broadcast, or you can actively participate by joining us on the Super Text line, 615-737-9986. I also open up the phone lines all 4 hours of my radio broadcast for you to opine at your choosing, 615-737-9986. It's day 777 of our broadcast here on Super Talk. It is day 63 of the Trump administration. By the way, that's day 63 out of 1,460 expected in total. Just 63 days in, and we still have almost 1,400 to go, and the liberals are losing their ever-loving mind over stuff like the main topic of the day, the signal. It wasn't even a leak, and I hesitate to call it as such. It was more than anything, it was an accidental allowance for an individual to be on a text message exchange between government officials in the Trump administration, and they allowed this one dude to get in there that wasn't supposed to be in there, and he really didn't get any information of use, and no mission was compromised. Nothing came of it, and I don't care beyond that. Mike Walls, I do not believe – Mike Walls is not a plant. Let's stop all of that. I trust that Donald Trump knows best. And Donald Trump believes in Mike Walls. He's repeated that on several different occasions. And many Democrats are calling for the removal of Walls or the removal of J.D. Vance or the removal of, Pete Hegseth. It's just a lot of nonsense. 615-737-9986 if you have any commentary on it as we move through the day. Meanwhile, all the mainstream media does with these stories is they run around Washington, D.C., and I love this. I love the denounce brigade. They demand that Republicans denounce. They demand denouncements. And they run around Capitol Hill to any office that has an open door, and they run in there. And this little fella, Manu Raju, does a lot of this. Y'all know Manu Raju over on #NeverCNN. Am I saying his name right?
I think so.
Ken's back there laughing at me. Am I saying his name right?
Little fella.
That little fella. I mean, he does look like a little fella, doesn't he? He's always shorter than the people he interviews.
Yeah, that's Manu Raju.
Raju. Little fella Manu Raju. He's running around and do you announce some of the comments made by this person or that person? Do you denounce the leak, and do you denounce this and denounce that? Everybody's got to denounce. If you're a Republican, you better be ready to denounce crap because they're going to demand it on CNN. But what about all these Democrats? Are the Democrats denouncing the Tesla bombings? I mean, that's what they are, right? I mean, y'all can call them improvised explosive devices. They're bombs, B-O-M-B-S, bombs that are being unleashed on Tesla dealerships across the United States of America. Well, some Democrat lawmakers have been asked about this. Believe it or not, this has reached the point where even #NeverCNN is asking for a denouncement. Do you denounce? Do you denounce? Do you disavow? That's another one. That's a good one, too. Not only do you denounce, do you disavow? Mm-hmm. That's a big one.
Sounds serious.
Oh, yeah.
Got to denounce and disavow.
It's one thing to denounce, but, I mean, it's much like Jay and I have talked on Fridays about a cease and desist letter. I mean, it's one thing to cease, and it's one thing to desist. But I'm telling you to cease and desist, which is, that's something different. I mean, so not only am I expecting that Republicans will denounce this signal leak, this leak of classified information. Oh, my goodness. They're leaking like a sieve over there. We got to disavow it, too.
That little fella's going to get tired asking about all that denouncing and disavowing.
Well, I mean, he's on it. He's on top of it. He has occasionally asked about the denouncement or disavowment of is that a word? That's probably not a preferred word.
Maybe he'll start asking about disembowelment.
Well, I mean, that too. I mean, they would do it if they had the ability. Some Democrat lawmakers refused to answer. They're refusing to denounce or disavow questions concerning whether or not they condemn, denounce, or disavow condemnation. That's a big one.
Oh, yeah.
The recent string of violent attacks targeting Tesla dealerships. According to Daily Caller, Of course, I mean, we know the backstory, right? Tesla dealerships, charging stations around the country have been targeted by liberal Democrats who know no violence that they will not attempt if they think that it'll get them somewhere in terms of expressing their, emotions in the moment. That's what they're the party of emotions. They're very, very upset about things. They're very upset about things. What are they upset about? What? And you know what? I think this merits a stepping back a little bit. Why are they so mad at Elon Musk? I mean, honest question. Why are they so mad? Have you asked a Democrat friend why they're so mad? Why are you so mad at Elon? And, you hear things like, oh, he's a Nazi. Well, what? Why is he a Nazi? He's a Nazi. Well, he made that. All right, so he made an expression on a stage somewhere that you interpreted as a Nazi salute, and I can show you photographs of Barack Obama and Nancy Pelosi and Kamala Harris and Tim Walz and many, many others making the same type of, hey, how are y'all, that kind of thing. I just did it. So somebody's going to call me a Nazi now. But why else would you say that you're upset at Elon Musk? Are you upset because he is because he's digging into government waste, fraud, and abuse? I thought you didn't like waste, fraud, and abuse. Oh, but your ox is getting gored now. Is that it? Oh, I see. I see. That's different. You know why I think they're so upset? Because government is a religion for liberals. They have all their faith in mother government. It seems to me that a large swath, a great percentage of liberals, whether or not they claim to believe in a spiritual or higher power or not, and I'm not casting aspersions. I'm really not. You can believe in whatever you want to believe in. It's a free country. And you have freedom to believe in whatever religion you wish to believe in or to believe in no religion at all. And it is not for us to judge you. That judgment will come at a later time from someone not named Matt Murphy. But many liberals, regardless of what they will tell you their religion is, they bow before the altar of government. They believe in a nanny state. Yesterday, we had a conversation about big pharmaceutical companies, big pharma. And I hate big pharma. The conversation centered around whether or not you believe in a government big and powerful enough that could stop big pharma from advertising on television stations. Apparently, Robert F. Kennedy is inquiring as to whether or not he has the authority, or the FCC or any organization within the executive branch of government would have that authority absent congressional power. And I said yesterday that I would be against this because as much as I detest a big pharma, I detest a big government more. Well, liberals bow before the altar. I mean, they believe that the government provides all of the things in their lives that are necessary to go on, to carry on. They have all their faith in mother government. They have been conditioned to believe in this way. And some of them perhaps don't even realize it. I wish they did. I wish it were not so, but it is. And so any besmirchment of mother government, any conversation about cutting into the waste, fraud, and abuse might hit meat or bone. And they can't have any of that. Plus, they have bought into this idea. Sadly, a lot of Democrats are just useful idiots, and they've bought into the idea presented to them by their political masters. Democrats sadly live on I call it the Democrat political plantation. And they are enslaved mentally on the Democrat political plantation. And all I want is to help them see a better way, a better life, unencumbered by the burdens placed upon them by the government that claims to serve them. It's not true. It's not true. So when Ronald Reagan says government isn't the answer to all of your problems, government is the problem, I take that to heart. I believe it. And I believe it even if the government decides to go after organizations that I don't like either, like Big Pharma. I still blanch at the idea of government being big enough to do that because that means it's a government that would be big enough to perhaps go after things that I care for or I believe in. Democrats, they believe in mother government, and they bow before the altar of mother government. And so, of course, anything that attacks those things that are going after their beloved government, they're going to be in favor of. So when these Tesla dealerships and charging stations around the United States of America have been targeted by vandals in recent weeks, of course they're going to love it, and of course they're not going to denounce it. Michigan Representative Rashida Tlaib claimed on a February 7th post on X, which is ironic in and of itself. They go onto the platform provided by Elon Musk to trash Elon Musk and regularly, consistently call Elon Musk Hitler or a Nazi on the very platform that he provides for them to do it. I mean, talk about a guy who believes in the First Amendment. Tlaib claimed that Musk was a, quote, unelected billionaire who is dismantling our democracy, going on Tuesday to say that she would not answer a question from a reporter, Miles Morrell, about whether or not she condemns recent acts of vandalism at Tesla dealerships, instead asking him, are they paying you well? Because I believe you should be paid a fair wage. Tlaib also wrote on February 10th on X that Musk is, quote, now calling the shots and Republicans are blocking an effort to hold him accountable. Nevada Democrat Representative Susie Lee did not respond when asked by a Daily Caller reporter whether or not she condemns Tesla dealerships being attacked either. Lee previously criticized Musk, claiming on a social media post on February 8th that he is a billionaire with massive government contracts and ties to Red China. Democrat Florida Congressperson Maxwell Frost told the Daily Caller that we, quote, condemn all attacks, but then added that he does not condemn people who are, quote, mad at Elon Musk. You see, Democrats have a difficult time playing by the rules that they claim everyone else in America ought to be playing by. Democrats don't really believe in a nonviolent society. They believe in, I'm just telling you the way that I feel about it, folks. Based on the evidence that I have seen over the last 20 years, really 25 years of doing this talk radio show. Started in Montgomery, Alabama, went to Birmingham, Alabama, and now in Nashville, Tennessee. And I got to tell you, Democrats consistently demonstrate that they believe violence is appropriate if it achieves their goals. And they use language inconsistent with that belief when it benefits them to do that. In other words, they'll use it like a bludgeon. January 6th as a good example. They'll bolster that up into something that it completely wasn't for their own purposes, simultaneously applauding the violence that occurs at Tesla dealerships around the United States of America, and then would tell you that you're ridiculous to suggest that these are similar type activities. Larry, we'll get to you in a moment. John, you too. Randy, you're up. It's 21 after the hour. My name is Matt Murphy, and this is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, guys, I want to talk to you about my friend Shane Ring over at Cover Nash, located right here in Middle Tennessee, a local expert when it comes not only to opting into health plans, but also becoming educated on what plans you really need and how much you should really be paying for any particular health insurance plan. When you book your appointment with Shane, and I encourage you to do this, friends, he goes over all available health care plan options in the market, on the market. Help you shop for coverage based on your health and your financial need, not based on some cookie-cutter approach. No more call center agents. That's just ridiculous talk. Talk to Shane Ring at Cover Nash. The bills that you were never told you were getting that you got, you can eliminate those out of your life forever when you talk to Shane and Cover Nash. He'll also show you how to access in real time the cost of medical procedures and visits that you need to compare pricing, which is so crucial and important when it comes to your health care and your health care coverage. 615-465-0023, 465-0023, or go to covernash.com. Once again, that's covernash.com.
Customers of 23andMe being urged to delete genetic data and get DNA samples destroyed. We'll tell you about it at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Sometimes I think of jokes that the news tease just now made me think of one, and I'm not going to do it.
Why not?
Well, you talk about delete genetic data.
Yeah.
Reminds me of when I was in high school, my mom would tell me to clean up my room.
That is disgusting. Thank you very much.
Hey, man, that's all on Weaver.
It's all your fault, Ken.
100% on Weaver. Well, why not? That sounded like a challenge. So I just went ahead and answered the call. Mama. Like you put your clothes. Well, there was about a 2-year period in my life where Mama made me put my clothes not in the hamper, directly into the washing machine.
Yeah, I don't handle my son's clothes. You do your own laundry, buddy. I'm not touching this stuff.
See there? I'm not.
I don't know where you've been.
That's exactly right. I don't know where you've been. Don't know what you're doing. Get the dishes in the kitchen and the clothes in the washing machine.
You boys are talking about coming in sweaty after football or baseball practice.
Of course we are.
Ken.
Of course. What are you talking about? 14-year-olds are nasty, man. Just disgusting, filthy animals. Jeremiah writes in and says, what is WTN and Matt Murphy going to do about the attack on free speech that has been horrible since Trump took office? I would think I wouldn't have to name examples. There are so many. Look at all the words Trump administration is trying to get rid of. I literally could name 10 off the top of my head. Well, okay, but do that, would you? He hated social media until they bought them, or had like Mark Zuckerberg come and kiss the ring. Now they're great if you listen to Trump. Are all of you going to say anything about leftist speech on X's algorithm? How they are suppressing it? Y'all sure raised hell when it was the other way around. Come on, be brave. Point out the hypocrisy. What I'm going to point out, Jeremiah, is the phone number hasn't changed. 615-737-9986. If you want to point out this hypocrisy, you are more than welcome to do it, because I have no clue what in the hell you're talking about. Is he on hold? He says he's on hold. Jeremiah says he's on hold.
He must have just called.
Okay. Well, Jeremiah, I'm going to you. I'm just going to go to Larry real quick first up. Larry, what's going on?
Well, first of all, Matt, thanks for taking my call. Secondly, go Sooners, for Brother Ken.
Yes, sir, Brother Larry.
What are y'all playing? Wait. What are the Sooners playing right now?
Well, our women's basketball team's in the Sweet 16.
Oh, okay. All right. I just didn't know.
And then, does Brother Ken like firearms? And if so, what would he like to have? Because I might be able to hook him up.
Oh, Larry, stop. Larry's trying to give everybody guns. Larry, stop trying to give away a bunch of guns.
Well, I love my Brother Ken, man.
I appreciate it, Brother Larry. I do appreciate it, but my dad gives me plenty of guns.
Well, you got a place to shoot?
Yes, yeah, I do. I do.
All right, because you can come out here and shoot my damn 5.73 hand cannon in my backyard.
You got any classic cars or something you want to give away? Or? Larry.
Matt, because of the first freaking ex, I let go of the 69 Mustangs. I completely restored.
That's a tough one. Mrs. Larry got that one now?
Oh, no, she don't. It went to a damn auction.
Oh, well, that's even better.
Oh, no, it ain't. But anyway, about these leaks that came out of the administration, Matt, first of all, people on such lists are, and I don't give a damn what your position is. I don't give a damn what your clearance is. I don't care if you got a damn TS-10 clearance.
Good gracious, Larry. Larry, let the host cuss, and you just keep it out of your mouth.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm just, 3 in a row.
Well,
like saying
sorry.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah, Beetlejuice. So, I don't care what your clearance is. You are only informed if you have a need to know. So, whoever let this out, whoever reported this to this stupid, freaking reporter that, also thought the Russia hoax, was real. They need to be handcuffed, tied, put in orange jumpsuits, and hauled off.
Look, bottom line is this. The mistake was made to include an individual on a secure text apparatus or application called Signal. This is all we need to know about it. That was an error, and obviously anyone involved in committing that error needs to be disciplined on some level. That does not include firing, because the error does not rise to the level of a fireable offense, in my opinion. Jeremiah, amongst others, will be next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Customers of 23andMe urged by another top law enforcer to delete their genetic data. get their DNA samples destroyed. Here's Chuck Severson.
Customers of the Ancestry Tracing and DNA Health Risks Company have the right to contact it to get their genetic material and data destroyed. That from New York State Attorney General Letitia James. She joins California's AG in that advisory. James says her office is offering tips on how to do so, and it can be done by customers online. This because 23andMe filed for bankruptcy and announced plans to sell its assets.
Yeah, the Tennessean says anyone in Tennessee who has used 23andMe can remove personal information by opting out of the data section of the account settings of 23andMe. The data is deleted once a user submits and confirms the request, according to the company's website. President Trump signed executive action today to overhaul elections, including requiring documentary proof of citizenship to register to vote in federal elections and demanding that all ballots be received by Election Day. Trump says more election executive actions are coming in the weeks ahead. Speaking of elections, 2nd District Congressman Tim Burchett telling WTN's Matt Murphy he doesn't feel that God wants him to run for governor in 2026, but if Senator Marsha Blackburn were to throw her hat in and win.
If Marsha were to win and there was an opening in the Senate, I would strongly hopefully I'd be in consideration for that.
Money News, a new report shows for the first time 50% of parents with adult kids provide their kids with at least some financial support. Savings.com says these parents are shelling out about $1,400 per month on average for their adult kids' cell phone plan, health and auto insurance, and rent. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Oh, that's me. Sorry about that, folks. All right. Well, looky here. 24 westbound. Right after Murfreesboro Pike, got a crash reported by police. Then in Hadley, we got a crash. Right shoulder block, that is, 40 westbound before 28th Avenue. And then all the brake tapping that you usually see this time of day, well underway. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm still laughing about that wreck in the newsroom. Anyway, so I'm sorry, Ken. I couldn't help it. I had to throw you under the bus. Oh, my goodness gracious. That's the biggest wreck around. Okay, so full-service pest control, termite protection, and crawl space services available at U.S. Pest. Here's the bottom line, folks. The bugs and the nasties that you want to keep off your property and out of your home, they're trying to do a little Ho Chi Minh Trail into your house. They want to come into your crawl space. They want to live in there. And they want to get in the walls and live in there. And they want to come out of the walls when you're not looking and take the food and the other things that you've worked so hard to get. So U.S. Pest wants you to protect you from all of those things. The purpose of pest control, bugs are icky. Spiders and ladybugs and roaches and ants and silverfish and stink bugs. It's just all icky. It's just all nasty. But also, they bring disease with them into your home. Refer a friend or a neighbor or a family member and receive a $50 credit on your account. Or let's start that account today. I would love for you to become a part of the family of U.S. Pest. J.K. and Erica Brister would love that as well. Call 590-1260. That's 590-1260. Or go to uspest.com. That's uspest.com.
For many of us, generators are becoming a must-have household appliance. From unpredictable weather to surprise outages, it's better to be safe than sorry. Generator Supercenter of Nashville offers fast and easy installations with 24/7 service and monitoring to all brands of generators and expert repairs done right. Our mission is to make owning a backup generator simple and easy. Visit your local store today or check us out online. Generator Supercenter of Nashville. We serve all Middle Tennessee.
4481 says, I love you, Ken, and I love you, Murphy. And I love Ken, too. That was mean of me, but I couldn't help myself.
Oh, man, I like it. I dig it. It's all right. I should have been ready instead of taking a drink of water.
I love it. Oh, that's me. 24 sucks. That was his go-to immediately.
Well,
it's true.
It is
You're not
true.
wrong.
I'm not lying.
You know, you're doing right. We got nincompoops in the news on the way coming up in just a moment. I promised I'd get to Jeremiah in a moment. I have this might be my winning nincompoops.
I bet you're wrong.
It is a personal story that happened to me.
Are you the nincompoop in this story?
You know what? That's
That'd
probably
be the only way you'd win.
The audience will decide who the nincompoop truly is in this tale. But I think the nincompoop is the bicyclist. I had a bicyclist encounter.
Oh, yeah.
Coming back from physical therapy this morning.
Were they wearing their outfit?
They were wearing matching outfits, Ken. More coming up on that in just a moment. But right now, I don't want Jeremiah to have to wait because disagreement goes to the front of the line. Hello, Jeremiah.
Hello, Matt. How you doing?
I'm great, Jeremiah. Hope you are.
I'm doing all right. I've been listening to WGN for probably about 15 years. I love listening to you. I'm glad you came in after Uncle Phil.
Well, thank you. Thank you. That was like
really good.
Yeah.
I'm glad they found you.
Well, thank you. That's very sweet of you. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Yeah. It's been an honor.
I'm independent. So I've been listening to Republicans since 2016, since Trump raised all kind of, double hockey sticks over the left pressing free speech, especially like on Twitter and social media. But now that Elon Musk owns Twitter and they're suppressing leftist speech, Twitter is great. And I would think that he's trying to ban other words in his administration.
What evidence do we have that he's suppressing liberal speech?
Okay, the New York Times came out with a list of words that they didn't even want the Trump administration to use anymore, like DEI, stuff like that. They even had Native American in there. They had black in there. They just random words, even sex was in a list of words that I believe it was the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times put out that the Trump administration is telling its people not to use. And as for
what does that have to do with X?
Oh well, that is separate. But X, The Verge came out with the study that found that X's algorithm now two things is push: Republicans and Elon Musk. And the Wall Street Journal came out with X algorithm feeds users political content whether they want it or not. Mainly,
the algorithm feeds you. I don't know anything about this article out of the Wall Street Journal, but the algorithm feeds you what it thinks you want, which is the same type of algorithm. It's not exactly the same algorithm, but it's the same type of algorithm as used by Instagram, TikTok, Facebook Reels, social media platforms.
That Trump now loves TikTok and Facebook.
But once again, nothing you've said indicates to me how they are subverting or in some way holding down leftist speech on the X platform.
Okay, the Washington Post came out with on Elon Musk's X, Republicans go viral as Democrats disappear.
Right. You understand? You understand when Elon Musk bought the platform, leftists created Blue Sky for the purpose of leaving the platform, and they left of their own volition. That is but leaving on your own is not the same thing as intentionally depressing your ability to get your message out through the platform specifically because of your political viewpoints. And I'll read these articles. I'm happy to read these articles, Jeremiah, but
I didn't know anything about left leaving Twitter. Like I said,
you don't know anything about Blue Sky?
No, sir, I don't. I'm not a Democrat. I'm independent. I stick to the middle, and I'm
but you seem, but Jeremiah, no offense, but you seem pretty sure that Elon Musk is engaging in this behavior, and you're not aware of a platform where the political left went in droves at the point that he bought the platform of X?
No, sir, I didn't know that.
Well, if I were to tell, if you were to trust me, and I were to tell you that there is a platform called Blue Sky, and many, many people on the political left said they were going to go over there because they didn't like Elon Musk and they don't like Donald Trump and they don't like X anymore. And if they went over, I mean, but if they did that, wouldn't that, in effect, decrease the amount of leftists that you see on the X platform? Couldn't that account for you seeing fewer of them?
Yes, and okay. I didn't know that.
Well, I will certainly look at the Washington Post and Wall Street Journal articles that you referenced. I kind of tried to write that down as you made that point.
The Wall Street Journal was by Jack Gilliam, Alex Kors, and the Washington Post by Drew Harwell and Jeremy P. Merrill, October 29th, 2024. That was 2024 when that came out. Washington Post. Dang.
That was last year.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, Jeremiah, call again. I think you did. You acquitted yourself very well. We'll have another conversation very soon. I got to get to Nincompoop Said the News, my friend. That's right. This time, it's a very personal edition of Nincompoops in the News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'll go first. I'm happy to go first.
I think you should go first.
Have at it, Brother Murphy.
So I was leaving my PT appointment this morning on my shoulder, and I decided to take the back way home. That would be Beckwith Road.
That was mistake number one.
For those of you familiar with Mount Juliet, you might know the area that I'm discussing. And I got to a four-way stop, right? So stop signs in all four directions. Mm-hmm. And as I was approaching the four-way stop, a bicyclist hit the stop right around the same time that I did. Now, this bicyclist was on the roadway. Now, y'all tell me if I'm wrong, but bicyclists are allowed on the roadway, are they not?
They are.
They are.
As much as we may not like it.
Are they required to abide by the same rules of the road that I am?
They are.
That's what I thought too. So, bicyclist number one in a bright yellow top and black bicycle shorts was followed, and it was about 100 yards or so behind him by bicyclist number two. Same outfit, two genders. I'm assuming dangerous, husband and wife. That's what it looked like to me. Okay. Somewhere in their mid-Karen stage.
Well, they're a fun couple, I bet.
Oh, boy, with their little helmets and their bright yellow tops. So I came to the stop sign at the same time as bicyclist number one.
Okay.
And so he did not wait for me. I was going to wave him through because it was pretty much boom, boom.
So they were perpendicular to you.
Perpendicular to me, right. Crossing the traffic.
Gotcha.
And he went on through, which is fine. We got there close enough that I don't fault him for that.
Yeah.
Well, I start to go, and as I start to go, I notice that old yeller number two is coming right on through.
Really?
Just blowing the stop sign. And so I roll down my window, and she gives me the what for. Starts yelling at me about look out for bicyclists. And I screamed back, the rules of the road apply to you too, lady.
Wow.
And she yelled something else, and I screamed, thanks, Karen, is what I screamed. I said, thanks, Karen. And I went on my merry way. Now, I suggest to you that this lady in the yellow top on her little bicycle with a little bicycle helmet is an nincompoop. Because you need to know, I'll share the road with you, but the rules of the road apply to you too. And, oh, by the way, just because your old boy up there in front got to the stop sign at the same time I did doesn't mean that you did. You're not a part of the same little caravan.
That's right. She probably never even saw the stop sign. She probably said, "Oh well, hubby went through, so that means I go through as well."
Well, what genuinely infuriates me about it is, and I understand, I try to share the road and I try to be as nice as I possibly can be to bicyclists, but y'all want the same access, but you don't want to play by the same rules.
Yeah, 100%. I see it almost every day here in Nashville, either coming to or going home from work. Someone on a bike that just, or a scooter, one of those scooters that just blows right through intersections.
And thinks it doesn't apply to them.
Yep.
Well, it does. It does. Ken Weaver, I'd love to hear your nincompoop.
All right. Here we go, boys. This is out of Henderson, Kentucky. Happened just the other day. An Evansville man wielding a plastic sword was arrested after authorities say he injured a police officer. Officers were dispatched after receiving reports of an intoxicated man waving a plastic sword along Lynch Road. They found Colton Billmere in a parking lot behaving erratically.
Uh-oh.
Billmere allegedly injured one officer and kicked another. I don't know if he injured that officer he kicked, but apparently the sword took care of the other. Police say Billmere is a sex offender, and he did not have an ID. He was arrested and charged with battery against a public safety official, resisting law enforcement, failure to own an Indiana identification as a sex offender, and disorderly conduct. No word on whether or not he said, "May the force be with me."
I was thinking, I have the power.
little He-Man. He's a little Skeletor.
A plastic sword.
Oh, that's awesome.
They should have put a picture of the sword in on the story, too. That would have been good.
A little plastic sword. Yes, sir, Mr. Weber.
All right, cops in Florida. Love these Florida stories. Say a man stole an ambulance and led a law enforcement chase through the streets of Tampa. It started around 8:40 on a Saturday night. Florida Highway Patrol say they got an alert about a Tampa Fire Rescue ambulance being stolen from South Tampa Hospital. Dashcam footage from the pursuit shows the troopers pursuing the ambulance as it runs stop signs, swerves through traffic, and drives on the wrong side of the road, nearly crashing into motorists. Police say that the offender is 43-year-old Tampa resident Michael Esquilin. He was the driver here. And it says once the cops finally pulled the man over, you can see him through the footage downing a can of beer before officers open the door and throw him to the ground. He was arrested on charges of burglary of an emergency vehicle, grand theft of emergency vehicle, fleeing and eluding, driving while suspended, resisting, and DUI. Esquilin told officers that he had been drinking alcohol for the previous 2 days and stole the ambulance after first responders denied him a ride home.
Oh.
Wow.
I'll show them. You won't give me a lift? I'll just take your ambulance.
So he had the beer in the ambulance.
He had it with him.
I bet it was a tall boy. One of those 24 ounces.
Yeah. Little paper sack.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't give him credit for any of this. You got to serve a little time for everything you've done. But a little bit of credit for the moxie to say, well, the hell. If I'm about to go, I might as well get this last swallow down.
Might as well extend the buzz for as long as it'll go.
Hold on, you can get me just let me chance.
Hold on, give me a chance to get me a smoke. There you go. That's how you play Nick Boop Said the News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You may vote 615-737. I feel good about this one. I'm not trying to sway the jury, but already 1960 says Matt wins today. We'll see.
That's pretty strong.
That's pretty good.
Like it.
All right, and 5900 says you shall not pass straight to jail. That's a Lord of the Rings reference there. Yeah. 52 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My man Jeff Eddy in Efficient Heating and Cooling, they understand that it can be hard to find trustworthy people in the heating and air conditioning industry because there's so many different companies and they tell you so many different things. And sadly, many of them work on commission and many of them are just there to sell you a new unit. It is truthful to say this. Now, what's also truthful is that a lot of times you can get extra time out of that unit if you call Jeff Eddy in Efficient Heating and Cooling, because that's what he's in the business to do. Make sure you're maximizing the life of that AC or the heater in the winter months, making sure that you're getting maximum use out of it, and making sure that you don't have to pay more than you should by losing years off the life of your air conditioner. That's what it's all about. Jeff Eddy in Efficient Heating and Cooling. That doesn't mean that he sometimes doesn't give you the news. I mean, sometimes the bad news comes, but when Jeff Eddy tells you that it's time to replace, they're going to offer you suggestions. They're an Elite Pro partner with Rheem. They'll find the right unit for you and for your family. Go to efficienthvac.net to find out more information. Ask them about their maintenance call. They're capped at $125 on a maintenance call for your AC. That means you never pay more, and oftentimes you pay significantly less. The telephone number, 615-784-4424, 784-4424 for our friends at Efficient Heating and Cooling. If your AC's not ready, call Jeff Eddy and Efficient.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Well, the Trump administration now facing a federal lawsuit over that chat group discussion about a military strike in Yemen. I'll tell you about that at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy here. I don't know.
Thought you were going to sell me something.
I don't know what I'm doing. I've got no clue what's going on. I feel like I have had a pint or two.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know why. I think it's my allergies.
That can do it.
I think it's my allergies.
Yeah.
I'm feeling completely out of it. So I decided to have an apple while Ken Weaver does the newscast.
What kind you got?
Fiji?
Fuji?
Fuji?
Yeah.
Fuji, yeah, those good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's a little bit.
It kind of looks like a pink lady.
What? I don't know. I don't know. I didn't buy it.
Not quite as good as a Honey Crisp.
Oh, I love a Honey Crisp. Nice and robust. Granny Smith. If I'm in the mood.
Oh, yeah.
A little tart for me.
Oh, I like that's what I like about them. I'll try to get my senses about me for the final hour of the show. We'll get to Randy and John and Diane, but right now it's time for Ken Weaver and the news.
Six o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Well, the Trump administration now facing a federal lawsuit over the chat group discussion about that military strike in Yemen. Here's Peter Haralambous.
5 cabinet members who were included in the Signal chat are named as defendants in a federal lawsuit filed by a Washington-based watchdog group. The lawsuit alleges that the use of the encrypted messaging application, which can be set to automatically delete communications, violates a federal law related to the preservation of government records.
Now, President Trump defending National Security Advisor Mike Waltz over mistakenly adding a reporter to that chat.
I don't think we should allow people that are very good, like that man sitting right at the end of the table who's done a great job. We shouldn't allow them to be hurt by it.
Talking about Waltz, managing editor at The Atlantic magazine, Jeffrey Goldberg, said he received a Signal invitation from Waltz, something Trump and Waltz say the administration's looking into to determine whether changes need to be made. The White House maintains no classified information was compromised. And President Trump signed executive action today to overhaul elections, including requiring documentary proof of citizenship to register to vote in federal elections and demanding that all ballots be received by Election Day. Trump says more election executive actions coming in the weeks ahead. And speaking of elections, did you hear what 2nd District Congressman Tim Burchett told WTN's Matt Murphy when asked if he'll run for governor?
I pray about it. I'm a Christian. I'm not a very good one, obviously because of my chosen profession. But I honestly don't think God's leading me in the direction of Nashville.
But he says he hopes that he would be strongly considered for the U.S. Senate if Marsha Blackburn were to toss her hat into the governor's race and win. So far, Congressman John Rose is the only one who's declared. Russia-Ukraine update. Patrick Reevell says they've reached a limited agreement brokered by the U.S. and Saudi Arabia that falls short of a full ceasefire.
The Kremlin and Ukraine's President Zelensky say they have agreed to halt strikes on ships in the Black Sea. In exchange, the US has agreed to ease sanctions on some Russian banks involved in food and fertilizer exports. Russia says it will only start implementing the deal once that happens. This basically resurrects a deal brokered by the UN back in 2022, but that Russia later withdrew from. Ukraine and Russia also agreed to work on measures to end strikes on energy infrastructure.
Money News, a new report from Savings.com shows for the first time 50% of parents of adults provide their offspring an average of $1,400 per month for things like cell phone plans, health and auto insurance, and rent. And then there is this.
Dropping to a 12-year low more than analysts expected was the measure of short-term expectations for income, business, and the job market in a survey by FactSet for the Conference Board. That level is solidly in recession-predicting territory. Employment's strong and inflation's well below its high mark, but if consumer spending, which accounts for about two-thirds of the U.S. economy, weakens, that could have a negative impact, says an investment analyst at eToro to ABC News.
That's Chuck Severson. And the latest news, traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. In addition to the usual brake tapping to get home, we've got a crash to contend with. Police say this is going to be 440 eastbound just past at Nolensville Pike. And in Burns, we've got cones reported in the right lane. It's going to be in Dixon County, 40 westbound just past 840. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Just after 6 o'clock, 6:07 to be precise. Thank you for being with us. Whatever time you're able to give us, we're appreciative. We are the Matt Murphy Radio Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I say we. My name's Matt Murphy, but the show consists of yours truly. Ken Weaver's back in News Closet B. Chris Weber's making sure that everything that comes out of our speakers sounds as good as humanly possible, which is difficult work considering that the host is under the allergies. I think I've decided that it's the allergies.
That's what it is. Huh?
I think so. Eyes are a little watery, nose a little stopped up, not really feeling it, kind of fuzzy, brain fuzzy.
A little foggy, yeah.
A little fog.
That sounds right.
I think that's what it is. I did have time to count up the votes, and we have a first on Nincompoops in the News. We have a tie.
A tie?
Mm-hmm. We have a tie. It was a really close race, but you and I tied, Mr. Weber.
Really?
Uh-huh. First time that I have been near sniffing a victory. So I don't know what we do about all of that. I mean, a tie's like kissing your sister. We got to figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what to do with it.
No good outcome there.
Sandra writes in and says Murphy should lose because neither of the cyclists were naked.
Got a point there.
Well, I saw the cyclist. You don't want any of that on Beckwith Road. I promise you that. They're really Karens and Chads over there, says 1087. Yeah, I mean, I felt that way too. I didn't understand why I got the attitude. So we'll figure out a way to break the tie. Hey, Weaver. He's not back there. I was going to get Ken to break the tie.
Yeah, he stepped down.
Yeah, he's probably going to vote for you, though. I kind of get how that works. I have a very serious question. I'll get back to calls in a moment. Are people asking for alcohol-free alcohol?
Apparently they are, because I've seen a lot of it.
I mean, I suppose I understand. Well, no, I don't. I don't understand non-alcoholic beer really either.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe I get it that if you've decided that alcohol is not your thing or you need to take a break, either temporary or permanent, that perhaps, having a nice, what are they called, O'Doul's or whatever, would be, in the spirit of the thing, if you're with other people and they're having alcohol, but why couldn't you just have a soda or something?
Yeah. Seems like if you didn't want to drink alcohol, you wouldn't want to drink something that tastes like alcohol either, though.
I mean, I suppose I guess there are people that genuinely like the taste and flavor of beer. I mean, I've never been one of the, I mean, I drink beer. I mean, I guess a beer can be refreshing. I mean, but
I've had some beer where I said, boy, that's really tasty.
But I'm also anticipating the way it makes me feel.
Well, that's kind of the bonus, right?
I mean, that's part of it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a delicious, I had the other day a diet, it was a 0-calorie Dr. Pepper that had blackberry in it.
Oh, yeah?
Holy shnikes.
Good stuff?
It was good. So, yeah, I mean, there's plenty of great beverages out there. So that's one thing. But the cut but one could say that a beer with alcohol in it is refreshing with or without the alcohol. So one could make an argument that, you're going to be refreshed, your thirst is going to be quenched, it has a particular flavor to it that you may want. I don't understand the appeal of alcohol-free spirits.
Yeah, I've seen those as well. I don't get it.
I did it.
You tried alcohol-free?
Yeah, I did it during dry January.
So was it just out of a sense of habit, Ken?
Yeah, kind of, wanted to feel like I was still having some alcoholic beverages. However, I tried an IPA that was non-alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
That was not a good idea. It was... I
want something that tastes like feet without the buzz.
Well, I mean, it smelled like it, but then there was just no... There just wasn't anything. It's like you were drinking a Perrier or something. Is that what you call that water? In the green
sparkling water.
Yeah, a little sparkling. So, but we were just talking, the concept of drinking a beer that doesn't have alcohol in it makes more sense to me than these new alcohol-free spirits. They have alcohol-free vodka.
Oh, yeah.
Alcohol-free bourbon.
Yeah, little spritzers and things like that.
I'm just looking at, I was looking on one of my social media platforms here on my phone, and you can see me looking at it if you're watching on the Talk TV side. Meet bourbon's better non-alcoholic half, crafted with natural botanicals and infused with functional B vitamins, so you can rage later and rise earlier. Your favorite cocktail, just without the alcohol. It's called Free Spirit Bourbon.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
I don't understand that. I mean, unless, and I don't mean to turn it dark here, but unless you're talking about somebody that's an alcoholic.
Right.
That really, the habit, because they say that when I quit smoking, part of quitting smoking was the oral, all of that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so maybe that helps with the psychological side of things.
It did for me during dry January.
Well, I mean, there you go. I mean, not saying that Ken has
a problem.
I'm just,
he was just abstaining for a month. Yeah.
Boy, I made up for it. I didn't go out and get hammered or anything, but there was this brand new beer. Oh my gosh!
I do dry January so I can double up in February. Woo!
Yeah, boy, it felt good to come out of that dry January. It did.
Well, I mean, maybe
I didn't go over. I mean, I kept it. I mean, I wasn't fighting people with a plastic sword naked.
You didn't do it right then.
Somebody on the super text line said that story would be eminently funnier if the plastic sword was one of those little cocktail swords like you get olives on. Hey, Ken Weaver, of the other, without questioning why I'm asking you this, because you were out of the room for a moment.
Okay.
Of the other two nincompoop stories today, who was your favorite? If you had to pick.
Of the other two.
Not yours.
Not yours, but the other two guys. Chris or myself?
No pressure.
I'd have to say the folks on the bicycle because they I've had experiences with that.
I never thought it would happen. Can I get a little music, please?
Because I mean,
I never thought this would happen to me.
What kind of music?
I don't know. I'm just so very happy. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to spend a moment making a very special announcement on the Matt Murphy Show. For the first time in these many months that we've been presenting to you Nincompoops in the News, I'm pleased and proud to announce that Matt Murphy, the namesake of the Matt Murphy Radio Show, has won a round of Nincompoops.
That's way to go, Brother Murphy.
We were tied, kid. Weber and I were tied, and you cast the tie-breaking vote. How about that?
Yes, sir.
There you go. Woo! Thank you, old lady hag, Karen Bicyclist, for pushing us over the top. Wherever you are, I owe it all to you. I never thought it would occur, but I have finally won a round. Thank you, Ken Weaver.
You know what they say?
What's that?
Blind squirrel finds an acorn every once in a while.
They do say that. They do say that, friend. And today, this blind sow found herself an acorn.
Well, and they had matching uniforms.
They did. It was the yellow and, oh, man, she stopped. She stopped and gave me the business.
She's giving you the water.
I mean, like, whatever, lady. You just blew through a stop sign.
You're not helping your case, lady. You know, you were already pushing it being on the bike in the first place.
Look,
I mean, come on.
I say the same thing about Bicyclist as I say about Alabama fans. It's the 98% of the jerks that give the 2% the bad name.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of good bicyclists out there.
That's the 2%.
They obey the laws of the road.
Every time I see someone on a bicycle that's on the road, I go, look at this a-hole. Every time. Like, get a car or take a walk, man.
Look, God bless you. Don't come after us because I know how they are. Listen, y'all know how they are, right? And they'll come after you. They'll call the advertiser. I mean, they are mean. They're mean people. I had a situation in Birmingham one time where I think it's maybe the only time I was forced to officially apologize on the radio. Because I made a joke about opening your car door on them.
Ooh.
And oh my nose, man, it was a joke. It was a joke. It was a joke. Oh my goodness. They called like corporate Cumulus on me, and I had to apologize and say it was just a joke and all that. But so nobody's calling for any harm to come to any bicycle.
Of course not. No.
I would just suggest that there is a certain holier than thou attitude that comes from bicyclists.
I agree.
That people in their automobiles cannot help but think, I am in a 4,000-pound vehicle or more, and I could just, I won't. I'm not, but I could. I'm not, but I could do it. Yep. But I'm not going to. John is in Laverne is going to claw me out of this hole. Hey, John, how are you?
Yes, I am. And, hey, thanks again. Friday ended up to being a good weekend ending on David Carvey skits on Saturday Night Live. Well, hey, so the lady that went through the stop sign, God gave me a very creative, comical mind. So what do you think about this? I can kick, I can swirl, I can punch, and I can run through stop signs because I'm 50 and I love it and I don't give a damn. Oh, my God.
And I can kick.
That? Oh, my dear God. Oh, my God. So her husband did the right thing, respected the driving skills, and she just think because you're moving along, she's going to be like Michael J. Fox and hop aboard your bumper with a skateboard and go late to school and get a tardy slip on.
I don't know if she thought I was turning or not, but she just blew right through, and I'm like, whatever. If I'm on a little 12-speed bicycle or whatever it is, and I've got my big ass truck barreling down on you, I would think that you would take a little bit better care, but that's just me.
Now, Matt, are you a regulator? Are you one of the Murphy boys? Are you one of the Murphy's boys, or are you a regulator?
I'm one of Murphy's boys.
Yes, you are. What else about the
is that a hold on? Is that a Young Guns reference?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good, great. That's a deep cut. Aren't the Murphy's boys weren't they the Young Guns? The regulators were the other guys, right?
Yeah, Emilio Estevez and his brother Charlie Quinn and all that.
Oh, well, yeah.
Christian Slater. Yeah.
I misanswered that one then.
You know what? They should do a remake to that movie. But anyway, getting on to my question, I'm getting on script. When I'm seeing the interview where everybody's got a podcast, even that idiot out in California, God, what a waste of time. You're supposed to be serving the American people. Do a podcast on the weekend, but during the work, and then AOC and Bernie Sanders out. You're not in the White House working for the American people. You're out here flaunting around. But anyway, getting to the point when Bill Maher said he got invited to the White House with Kid Rock, I think that would put us over the top. If even he gave Donald Trump 50-50 a chance to hear the man out and liked Donald Trump, I think that would be the dagger in the Democrat Party, you think?
Well, I've long had, I'll answer the question this way, John, and thank you for the call. I've long had respect for Bill Maher. while I disagree with him probably more than half the time, I find myself agreeing with him more and more, or maybe he agrees with me more and more on some of the more pertinent issues of the day, such as the issue involving Israel and Hamas. Bill Maher also recognizes that the Democrats have completely lost their minds over men and women's sports, transgenderism, and some other issues. And I find myself, on occasion, consuming real time with Bill Maher. Mostly I find it on social media platforms in smaller bites, 5-minute bites, 6-minute bites, 7-minute bites. It did not surprise me when Bill Maher was invited to the White House, nor did it surprise me that Bill Maher chose to accept the invitation. Nor did it surprise me. All of these things are to be expected. I mean, it's like a script. Bill Maher is an open-minded guy, says he doesn't like Trump. Trump invites him to the White House. He accepts that White House invitation. And, of course, the political left sets out to destroy Bill Maher because how dare you think for yourself? How dare you step away from the Democrat political plantation? Why do you think I call it that? I use that analogy on purpose. Is it relatively inflammatory? Can be. Is it correct? 100% it's correct. You do not mentally veer off the plantation. If you do, you are going to be punished. You will be punished severely, and you will be brought back to the plantation, and you will be made to suffer as a result of what you have done. That's the mental plantation that the Democrats want to keep you on. Bill Maher's not having any of it. So congratulations and kudos to him. I don't know how it will go. Maybe badly. Maybe well. Who knows? 22 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. When we return, is drink spiking in Nashville a real thing? I've seen several stories. I'll tell you what I mean in a moment on Super Talk. I hope you have your tickets to the big breakfast tomorrow morning for Men of Valor. What a special event it truly is. I am so honored to be a part of the event, honored to have a table there at the Men of Valor breakfast, and honored to have some of you, Matt Murphy Show and Super Talk 99.7 listeners that are able to join me at the Men of Valor breakfast tomorrow morning. Whether you are there or not, I encourage you to give to Men of Valor if you have the ability. Whether you're giving a monetary donation or the gift of time, they need the volunteers. They need people that are willing to walk into the prison system and disciple men to lives of God, and understanding God's presence in your life can help you understand how to better your life down the road, especially when these men get out of the jail system, the prison system. Can you give? MOVministry.com is the website, MOVministry.com. Your support helps provide critical funding, or your volunteerism provides critical bodies to help aid in this endeavor. Not only does it save lives, it saves the state of Tennessee a tremendous amount of money. MOVministry.com.
Well, the Trump administration is now facing a federal lawsuit over that Signal messaging app group chat. We've got that story in the day's closing money news at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Also, Mike Walls has appeared on Fox News moments ago. We'll try to get some of that audio for you as well, as he's making the case that it was a simple misunderstanding, a lawsuit. Oh, my goodness gracious. Is there anything that Democrats will not go to court over? It seems that that is not the case. You know, and here's another thing, and I'll get to the drink spiking in a moment. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
We're working on alcohol-less beer. We're working on spiritless bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
When are we going to work on the thing that we really need? And that is the stuff that'll make you feel like you've been drinking without the negative effects of alcohol that gets to your liver and all of that.
Yeah.
I'm game for that.
I mean,
definitely
right?
need that.
I mean, isn't that what we want?
That and calorie-free food.
Yeah.
Well, now you're talking.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're talking.
Yeah, but good calorie-free food.
Well, that goes without saying.
I mean, obviously. I mean, we want food now, don't we? Oh, my goodness. I remember having some of that fat-free cheese one time. Ugh. I still can't get the taste out of it.
Yeah, it's not very good.
It was like 20 years ago. Blech.
Yeah, you got to have the fat and the cheese.
I mean, every time I think about it, it makes me...
I mean, that's kind of what cheese is, right?
Yes.
It's the good part.
Right.
It's the fat.
I mean, it tasted like cheesy plastic is what it tasted. It's no good. Apparently, this is an issue, and I've already had several people on the Super Text line to indicate that they are aware of it. But the issue is drink spiking in Nashville. I saw this story the other night on Fox 17. I'm referring to the story there on the website. Nashville's Sexual Assault Center says about 30 to 40% of people who were sexually assaulted believe they were drugged before being sexually assaulted. According to Kate and Kyle Alexander, they said that they don't venture to Nashville very often because they have two young children. They live just out of town in Gallatin. But the couple decided to celebrate Kyle's birthday. They went down, got a hotel, grabbed dinner, listened to some live music, and had a few libations, obviously setting themselves up for a night on the town in Midtown. The couple was having a great time, but 2 drinks in, to Kate's surprise, Kyle suddenly wanted to leave. He looked at me, never seen him so scared. They said that the entire night, his behavior was completely out of the ordinary. He acted aggressively and combative. By the next morning, according to Kyle, he says he doesn't remember any of it, and they are both convinced that he had his drink spiked. National Institute of Health says that those drugs typically involved with drink spiking stay in the body for several hours, so by the time Kyle had a chance to get a test, it was too late, and there was no residue in his body, but he is convinced that his drink was spiked. My question is this something that's happening in a rampant fashion in the city of Nashville? I mean, I would think on Lower Broad, you got to be careful down there, especially if you're female, because sadly, there are a lot of awful human beings in the world, and most of them are men.
You cannot leave your drink unattended.
Just don't do it. And if you accidentally do it, you're not thinking about it, and you don't have friends that are there taking care of your beverage, you got to throw it out.
Toss it.
You got to throw it out. According to Vanderbilt University Medical Center, they say drug testing is limited for patients who do not report the incident to law enforcement first, or it's very limited, and the hospital does not track issues of drink spiking. Ascension St. Thomas says that while testing is available, the hospital also does not keep statistics. Nashville General says a test is given at the provider's discretion, and it's looking into the statistics. So not a lot of stats on this, but just a lot of anecdotal evidence that this is rising in its regularity on Lower Broadway particularly. Y'all be careful out there. 31 after the hour on Super Talk.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes, and now the Trump administration facing a federal lawsuit over the Signal messaging app group chat about a military strike in Yemen. 5 cabinet members who were included in the chat named as defendants in a federal lawsuit filed by a Washington-based watchdog group. This lawsuit alleges the use of the encrypted messaging application, which can be set to automatically delete communications, violates a federal law related to preservation of government records. And during a White House meeting with ambassadors today, President Trump sent a new message to mayors under pressure to cooperate with mass deportation efforts.
We may be presenting you very shortly with a executive order ending sanctuary cities.
He was asked if he had any plans to yank funding for NPR and PBS.
I would love to do that. I think it's very unfair. It's been very biased, the whole group. I mean, the whole group of them.
Entertainment news, Country Music Hall of Famer Vince Gill had the honor of announcing new inductees today.
Their artistry has not only defined country music for audiences worldwide, but it's also inspired future generations, paving the way for those who follow in their footsteps.
The new inductees, Tony Brown, June, Carter Cash, and Kenny Chesney. Money News, Michelle Franzen.
What started as a day of gains ended with stocks barely changed as investors looked for more answers from President Trump on his tariff plans. The Dow added 4 points, the S&P gained 9, and the Nasdaq rose 83 points. Wall Street focusing on April 2nd. President Trump calls the day Liberation Day, when he's set to begin a global set of tariffs on trading partners that'll roughly equal what he sees as the burden put on the U.S. There are hopes his tariffs could become more targeted. A report Tuesday also showed consumer confidence fell more than expected, now down for 4 straight months. European sales of Tesla electric vehicles tumbled 49% in the first 2 months of the year, even as overall sales of EVs grew. There have been complaints about an aging Tesla lineup and a significant backlash against CEO Elon Musk.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, all the lanes are open, but we do have a crash on the right shoulder, 24 eastbound after Briley Parkway. And then 440 eastbound, police reporting a crash just past Nolensville Pike. And in Murfreesboro, a stalled vehicle on the left shoulder. TDOT says it's 24 eastbound before Medical Center Parkway. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy. Defense Systems is a life safety and security consultation firm based right here in Middle Tennessee. You've heard me talking with Brink Fiddler quite often. He is the owner of Defense Systems and has surrounded himself with such knowledgeable people, Tracy, Gloria, Adam, and the rest of the crew, that can help assist you in your effort to make your staff or the people that come into your place of business, your church, your school, any place people gather, safer. They do so through active violence mitigation training, through active shooter response training, workplace violence prevention, rapid response medical training, all customized to your facility and all at your direction. In other words, they can go as far as you'd like, or they can take a lighter touch if that is your desire at your place of business, at your school, or at your church. If you are the decision maker at a place that people gather, you owe it to yourself to contact Brink and find out what you can do to get a better trained, better informed staff. It is a dangerous world. We're not here to scare you. We're not here to suggest to you that you're going to have workplace violence descend on your place of business anytime soon. But it is not, the chances are not zero, and that means hope is not a plan. It is time to get trained with Defense Systems. Go to defensesystems.com. That's defensesystems.com, or call 615-236-6484, 236-6484. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Man, oh man, my nose, my eyeballs. I'm beginning to wonder if Chris Webber hasn't spiked my drink. Concerning. 615-737-9986 if you'd like to be a part of the show. I promised this audio a long time ago. I don't really have anything to say about it, but I'll just let it air on its own. It's 20 seconds of just a nasty person saying nasty things.
Because we in these hot-ass Texas streets, honey. Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot-ass mess, honey. So yes.
That is Representative Jasmine Crockett referring to Governor Greg Abbott, who is permanently disabled and in a wheelchair, as Governor Hot Wheels. That's just, that's all class there. Rishi is next with a thought on pharmaceutical advertising, which we discussed earlier today and more robustly yesterday. Hey, Rishi, how are you?
Hi, thank you for taking the call. I like your show.
Thank you.
So I just want to make a few points. What happens actually when they advertise those medicine? They go through all the good things about medicine, but they basically go through all the side effects and toxicity rapidly. So patients get convinced, but you pay doctor basically to decide which medicine is good or generic cheaper medicine is as good as commercial. So that's their duty. So I'm not sure advertising on television and highlighting all the benefits, but under highlighting all the side effects and damages is a true advertising for those medicines. And because you pay for, doctor to decide which is the good medicine for you out of those things which are not being advertised, and generic is definitely cheaper, actually, so it'll cost less. So that's what I had grievance with drug advertising on TV. Second, regarding Social Security, I think you were discussing yesterday. I mean, I paid close to 14% of my earned income over the last 20 years, amounting to more than 100,000. So I feel like to let go, actually, is not a good thing, actually. Government put in general fund and spent money like a drunken sailor. That's not my problem. I mean, I paid for it. I need to get that when I retire and so on. So I'm not, so.
Well, I mean, you want it, but, I don't know how old you are, Rishi, but.
I'm 68, actually.
Oh, well, you're close. I mean, you'll probably get it.
Yeah.
I don't have any expectation that I will. I'm 51 years of age, and and thank you, Rishi, for the call and the commentary regarding pharmaceutical advertising. I don't like big pharma, but I like big government less. And big government demanding that certain categories of advertising should not happen in a free and open market is something that I don't like. Many of you commented, hey, what about cigarettes advertising? Frankly, I think that's overreach too. If the product is so harmful, this is my point. If the product is so harmful that those that make it are not allowed to advertise it, then we should make the product illegal. That's my stand on it. Cherie wants to talk drink spiking, but Randy's been holding for a good long while. Randy, thank you for your patience. How are you, Randy?
I'm doing pretty good, sir. How are you doing, Mr. Murphy?
I am well.
What I'm wanting to take and talk about today, sir, is now that we have Trump in the office, we're needing to address something that we're having a real problem with across the U.S., not only just, in the Southeast where I'm currently, working and stuff like that, but across the U.S. We're having a problem with
Randy.
Truck drivers.
Hey, Randy. Are you on?
Yes,
I mean, I hate to interrupt you, but I'm having a little bit of a difficult time hearing you, and if I can't hear you, I'm fearful that the audience can't either. Are we on speaker? Is there any way to get a better?
Yes, sir. Hold on just a second.
Thank you. Just
Okay.
Oh boy, that is so. Randy, thank you. I apologize for asking you to do that, but
That's right.
I just want to make sure I can hear you. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I didn't know when I was going to come on. That's why I was having.
No, I get it. You held for a long time. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. No, and like I said, what it was, I was wanting to address. We're having a problem with truck parking spots across the U.S., especially in the Southeast, along
like Georgia, Florida, Alabama, where the ports are. And what I'm wanting to do is, I heard you speaking earlier about, Trump possibly working on the infrastructure of the U.S., highways, bridges, and stuff like that. And what I'm wanting to know is there going to be any addressing for the parking shortage? Because unless you're parked after 6 p.m., there's really no parking. That's why you see a lot of truck drivers, they're on the ramps, they're on the shoulders, and stuff like that. And it's just something I've been driving 19 years, and it's just something that's just gotten worse and worse over the last, 5 or 6. And it's just, there's got to be a breaking point somewhere.
So, we have underserved our infrastructure for generations, not just years, right? And sadly, the only time, the truckers feel it more than anybody.
Yes, sir.
And particularly the owners of the trucks. Now, a lot of times owner-operators are feeling it in the short hairs too. But, yeah, yes, we've got to get back to the things that government was designed to do. Government is not designed to, to test whether or not shrimp can survive on a treadmill for any given length of time. All these ridiculous programs that we hear about DOGE exposing, we need to get to the bottom of those, get those done with, and then reinvest in American infrastructure, which is part of, the design of our government, is to help those public thoroughfares survive and thrive as a way to give back to commerce, is what it's all about.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it, because, DOT regulations has us set for 11 hours per day of driving. You have to account for traffic accidents, traffic backup, rush hour, tires blowed, and all that. And, I'm not saying to change that rule, but, people have to understand, when we're told to shut down by our ELD, we got to shut it down. And, all we can do is try to find some place to be safe. They used to have a Michael's Law for a gentleman that got killed here a few years ago, at a
but what I've noticed locally, Randy, and I'm not trying to get too much in the weeds on it, but I'll give you an example that I saw today. So there's a truck pull off, it's called a rest area, but it's really just a truck pull off on I-40 just before you get to Mount Juliet. And it's between the Mount Juliet exit and the Beckworth Road exit, or the Golden Gate Parkway exit. And that pull-off has had state troopers at it the last several times I've been there with their lights on. And I don't know if that's because there's trafficking of a different sort, maybe drug. I don't know what's going on there. But sadly, those have become almost honeypots for illegal activity.
Yeah, you're right.
And it makes it more difficult for people just like yourself to just pull off and get a couple of hours sleep or a little bit of rest in order to get back on the roads.
Yes, sir, and I agree, because like I said, I have to drive all hours of the day sometimes. It's just the way that the loads fall in a certain time, and you have to drive sometimes overnight, and you're used to driving all day, and then you got to drive overnight. You're tired, and you'd like at least, someplace safe. And, don't get me wrong, there's few places like over in South Carolina and North Carolina where they have, the truck parking areas also, but like Georgia and Florida, unless, you're at a way station or something, to pull off, there's no extra parking for the average truck driver, And it's just something that we really need to get looked at. Because, it's just, you got 3 million trucks in the U.S., 3 million trucks. And according to a statistic, it's like we've got 225,000 spaces, and that's it. So there's a ratio off there a little bit by somebody.
The Loves can't handle them all. I get that. Thank you, Randy, for the call. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate you. Cherie is next. We were discussing the possibility of drink spiking in Nashville and whether or not, forgive the phraseology, whether there's been a spike in drink spiking. Cherie, what do you got?
Well, I run a winery. I think I've talked to you before. I own the winery, or run the winery at Grinder Switch at Marathon Village, and we've been there for 10 years. And I will say it's always been a thing more than likely in the past with women getting things put in their drink. That's always been a problem. There is a initiative in Nashville now called Safe Bar Nashville, and we have their cards in our store where they have like a piece of paper you can stick in a drink and it'll turn a color if it's been spiked or it has something in it. Or you can wear a nail polish that turns colors. You just stick your nail in there. It'll turn a color if there's something in there that's not supposed to be. But recently there's an uptick of men getting drugged in Nashville. There are women in groups that target men specifically to rob them. They drug them. They're highly unlikely to report it because they're embarrassed or married or something like that. So, yeah, it's definitely worse than it has been.
Whoa. I never thought about that, but that makes, I mean, you know, it's not right, but it makes sense.
No, and a lot of the, from what I had heard, a lot of the girls that do this aren't even from here. They're groups that travel. A lot of this goes on in Vegas and places like that, targeting men in particular to rob them because they're not as likely to really do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Be careful out there. It's as crazy as ever. I mean, I'm fascinated with the amount that this is happening. Cherie, I got to get out there to grind or switch. I promised you the last time we talked that I would.
Come get some wine. Yeah, come get some wine.
Y'all know.
It's not spiked, so you're good.
Well, spiked was something, not with the bad stuff, the good stuff.
Not with the bad stuff,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right, take care. There's Cherie. Grind or switch. You know Grind or switch?
I have not been.
You know, Grind or switch was. I think I have this right. That's where Minnie Pearl reportedly was from.
Oh, okay.
That's why they call it Grind or Switch.
I did not realize that.
She was Minnie Pearl was from Grind or Switch with Brother and all the rest of her family. By the way, I'm being told by numerous people on the Super Text line that the reason that the state troopers are present at that particular pull-off area for truckers is that is a mobile inspection division, and they are doing truck inspections there. So thank you for the many of you that have educated me on that. It is labeled as a check station. Tennessee can set up mobile check stations at any given time. Just FYI, that's pull off because they're doing truck inspections, DOT inspections. Thank you to all of you alerting me to that. I appreciate it. 9 until the top of the hour on Super Talk. Friends, there are a lot of diagnoses out there. There's a pill for everything, but not all diagnoses are the same, and not all pills are good for you. It's Matt Murphy, and when you get a diagnosis for your European auto repair, get a second opinion before you make a major decision. I would encourage you to go to Eurofix first, but if you don't, Eurofix is the home for second opinions. Before you spend hundreds or even thousands of dollars on European vehicle auto repair from a, quote, diagnosis, you go to Eurofix. It can not only save your vehicle's life, it can save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars and a lot of stress. Life's way too short to get stressed out and angry. Be happy. Go to Eurofix. At Eurofix, you get a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection with an estimate at every visit. Never a high-pressure sales tactic. They just tell you what's going on with your vehicle. Plus, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car at every repair appointment. At Eurofix, you never pay dealer prices. They have 5 locations. Franklin, 100 Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now in Mount Juliet, 844-EUROFIX, 844-EUROFIX, or myyurofix.com. That's myyurofix.com. It is 57 after 6, almost 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Was it just me, or did that last Malinoff traffic report seem like a cry for help? I mean, he's been here a long time, man. Maybe
his drink was spiked.
Maybe so. I'm not knocking it. Would you care to share with the class the telephone conversation that you just had?
Yeah, I got a phone call from what I presume was a young man, small boy of, I'd say less than 10 years of age, who said he had lost his teddy bear.
Uh-oh.
And I said, well, where'd you last have it? And he says, well, I was at the park with my mom, and I sat it down, and now I can't find it. And I asked him if he went back to where he put it down, and he said no. And I said, well, maybe you should ask your mom to take you back there and look for it, see if it's still there. And then he hung up on me. I'm just trying to help him. I guess he wanted me to offer him a new one. Sorry.
For some reason, I feel like your identity has just been stolen somehow. I don't know how, but that's the way I feel.
I just agreed to sign some kind of contract of some sort. Yeah.
And, it also reminds me of the old. Potentially the worst song ever written is Teddy Bear. You know that old country song?
I don't know that.
I hated. There was an era of country music where they did the speak singing, and I think this was Red's. Somebody will know, and they'll tell me right after I go off the air. Red So Vine.
Okay.
Called Teddy Bear.
Sounds awful.
And it's about being on the CB radio, and he's talking about not being there, but loving you, my little teddy bear.
Yeah,
That's what this reminds me.
I think I do know that.
Oh, it's awful. Just horrible. And don't tell me it's good, because it's not. On no planet is it good. It is good that I get to go take some allergy medicine, and hopefully I'll be a little bit better tomorrow on a Wednesday edition. If I don't see you tomorrow morning at the Men of Valor breakfast, I'll be thinking about you. Hopefully we will see you bright and early at about 7 o'clock in the morning, and we'll be back at 3 o'clock. Until then, have a wonderful evening, everyone. Hug your loved ones. So long, everybody.